Welcome to CNET's live coverage of the Apple Watch event 2015 Spring Forward event. I'm Donald Bell. Don't adjust your computer monitors. I'm not Brian Tong. Brian Tong is on vacation, probably enjoying having a lovely time somewhere far away. But I am joined by Ashley Escapa.
Hey guys.
Hey, and Jason Parker.
Hello.
Yes. So we are going to be running your Apple Watch coverage today. We are going to have our pre-show, our usual pre-show. We'll be taking calls at 888-900-CNET. We will be checking your tweets at hashtag CNET Live, and we'll be generally running our mouths and making fools of ourselves up until 10 o'clock Pacific time, when Apple is going to be starting their live event, and then we can't broadcast any of that, but you can at the same time that you'll keep our live stream up, and then we'll wrap it all up at the end. Just stick with us. You can also find our live blog coverage over on the front door of CNET, cnet.com. I'm sure it'll just be a couple of clicks until you can find the live show. We've got people on the ground, reporters reporting on what they're saying. Right now, they're all standing in line over here in San Francisco at the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts. In fact, for more on what we're going to be expecting from this show, we just taped a segment just a few minutes ago with Car Savoy and Scott Stein. Let's check that out, and then that'll give you a nice little warm-up for what we're going to see today, probably.
Thanks, guys. All right, Scott, today is the day we learn more about the Apple Watch. Let's hear some details. Pricing structure, release date, what do we know?
Sure. Well, we actually know a lot for a product that has already been announced. That's a rarity for Apple. So we know that it starts at $349.
Okay.
We don't know whether that's for the smaller or the larger. There are two different watch body sizes, and we also don't know how high that price is going to go. There are three different models. There's the Sport, which is $349. There's a stainless steel version, and then there's also going to be a gold version, the Edition. Now, does this go into the $10,000 range? Does this go into something more like a $5,000 range? Do the bands add extra prices? Will they have gold bands or diamond bands? Or, we don't know. That's a whole different level, and we know basically what the watch does, but we don't really know a lot of things about the apps that are running on it. That's what we're expecting to hear today. And also why we would need to use this.
That is the big question, of course. I mean, a lot of people don't even wear watches. We've got naked wrists these days because we're using our smartphones. How can Apple convince people that they need to buy this product?
Well, that's the problem. I mean, they've had this challenge before with things like the iPod and the iPhone, but in each of those instances, they've been standalone products.
Sure.
That even if they replace some features on something you own, you could say, well, I'm going to get all of this built in. This, I think, the challenge is having it be seen as an accessory because it needs to be connected to the iPhone.
Of course.
Or can it do enough on its own? Can that be seen as a valuable proposition and be an interesting product for people? That and explaining what a smartwatch does, because a lot of people still haven't used smartwatches.
Absolutely. I mean, smartwatches are really nothing new. They've been around for a few years. But now that Apple's getting into the market, what do you think that does as far as the competition or even, as we're saying, mainstream appeal?
Well, I think it stands to redefine the landscape again, which they've done before, entering into smartphones, and there were smartphones before, and then what they did kind of define the landscape, well, not kind of, completely define the landscape, and the same thing with iPad for tablets.
Absolutely.
So it really could help, especially for apps. And one thing we haven't seen with smartwatches are a lot of really great apps, even with Google's Android Wear, and I think that this will really get the ball rolling on people thinking about apps for a different size space, as opposed to just saying, well, we're going to take that phone app and jam it onto your wrist. That could really help, because you need to explain that and connected products. We talk about, Internet of Things and your car and your home. The watch should be able to help with that. That's the idea, but we haven't really seen a lot of stuff yet that's made it easier to use, and that's another big opportunity or challenge for Apple.
Absolutely. And release date, what do we know about when it's hitting the market?
Sure. Well, I think April is what we've heard.
Okay.
Is that early? Is that late? April. It's really soon. And will this be something that you pre-order now, or is it something that maybe you could even get in a store, look at in a store in advance? Would be interesting to check out.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Scott. Back to you guys.
All right, so we're going to be seeing an Apple Watch today, right? I mean, there's no way around that.
I
No.
think it's possible.
All right.
All signs point to
All
yes.
signs point to Apple Watch. When we already saw it really in September, right? When they gave the preview event, we saw the Apple Watch and all of its mostly computer rendered goodness,
Yeah,
and then a few actual Apple Watches. But there's still some details left to be discovered here, and one is pricing, really the pricing throughout the entire line, although we know that the base price is going to be right around that $349 mark.
Yeah,
right?
this is a big. I think that's actually for most people the big question is what's the range going to be?
Right. How poor am I going to be in a month?
Exactly. It
Yeah.
starts at $349, but it maybe if you want the steel watch, then maybe that's going to cost you a pretty penny. And maybe if you are either moderately well-to-do or rich, then maybe you want the Apple Watch Edition, which who knows how much that could be priced. I mean, we've seen analysts and pretty much everybody under the that the sun touches say it could be $1,000, it could be $5,000, it could be $20,000.
Right,
So we
because
just don't know.
Apple's not entering the luxury watch market in order to be like the cheap option.
Right,
So-
exactly. It's not going to be an economical choice for anybody looking to get in first generation Apple Watch.
Oh, but the other thing we didn't see really was the software, right? We're going to probably see a lot more of what Apple Watch can do now that developers have had some time with the SDK to develop apps and integrate their apps better for the watch. Jason, have you seen anything yet that would lead you to be optimistic or actually excited about Apple Watch software?
Definitely, because a whole bunch of third-party app developers have already gotten on board. We have a post on our site right now with all the apps that are available probably right at launch. And I imagine there's just going to be a flood once this thing is actually announced.
So stay tuned for that. But there's also some rumors that we're going to be seeing some other Apple products today, possibly. The strongest rumor we've seen is that there'd be a MacBook Air refresh, finally a MacBook Air with a Retina display.
That's
People
a
have been
really
waiting for that for a while.
clamored for product. People I want a MacBook Air with a
For a
Retina
couple years
display.
now, yeah.
Yeah, a couple years now. So that's a big one. And then
It's classically Apple, too. It's a product they probably could have made a year ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
But people
Yeah.
are just excited about it because it's inevitable that they would eventually make this.
But can they keep it at the same price point, I think is the question.
Right.
Will it be a little more expensive? Will it be the same price? Usually Apple says it's the same price. So hopefully that'll be the case. And then I've also seen people asking for a new iPod refresh. I find this very interesting. I've gotten
Yeah.
more questions about a new iPod than anything else. And usually don't we see that in the fall? That's usually a refresh that kind of happens in
It's
the fall.
really been inconsistent when they do anything with it now. It used to be religiously a September event, and now it's whenever they feel like they can push out, an update or
Do you think this
re-announce
is the,
pricing
is
or
this
new
the
colors.
time? Like Touch
I don't-
ID,
I don't
iPod?
think
Like
so.
you don't think so?
I think
don't know.
this is the watch show. This is the Apple Watch.
This,
It
yeah,
does feel like this is
especially
the
for like a
watch.
new product where Apple has as much confidence as they're trying to convey about how strongly they think the Apple Watch is going to sell. This is entirely new ground for them. Entering a luxury product that no one already has or needs. That's an accessory in some ways to your phone, but it's going to cost probably more than your phone if you're getting not just the base option.
Yeah.
There's a lot of iffiness to this product launch, and so there's a lot of Jedi mind trickery they're going to need to do to keep that Apple bubble.
Apple seems pretty good
intact.
at doing the whole you want this watch. Like you've been wanting this watch since you were born, since
Right.
before you were born. Like that seems like one of the things that they're really good at. Like a lot of people, I'm looking at the YouTube stream. So there's a lot of people here asking about the iPad Pro as well, like a larger
another rumor.
iPad.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Another rumor. I think we haven't. Sorry, guys. I hate to disappoint you, but we haven't really seen even any leaks or rumors about that. Other than it's being worked on, so we probably won't see that today either.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be sort of its own event as well. It's sort of in its own class.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it'll be its own
that's a
thing.
big enough announcement that they wouldn't want that overshadowing the watch.
No, of course not. Yeah, and I think people would be very. I hate to say it, maybe more excited about the iPad Pro than the watch. I
Well,
don't
something
know.
they could
I
probably
look at-
afford.
Yeah, exactly. It might be so. Well, I mean, they might be the same price depending on the watch,
Still, yeah.
But yeah, I just I find it very, very fascinating that that this one they decided to sort of do this around daylight saving time. Of course, like it's a watch and it's time. Thanks, Apple.
Yeah.
We're really tired.
Collective sigh goes throughout the room.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know, and I'm curious as to what you guys think. Is this the smartwatch that's going to tip the scales, like for it being ubiquitous?
This is actually I'm the most looking forward to me being convinced at the end of the show that it's something I would be interested in buying. But I'm open to being convinced. I'm also a cheapskate though, so it would take a hefty amount of convincing.
You know, the other thing I wonder is if that top level Apple Watch is $10,000 or $15,000. Will that alone turn off people to the Apple Watch just because, oh my gosh, what a luxury item? Even though the lowest one is $349, which is affordable.
Yeah.
But, you know, if it's really up there, people will be like, oh, that is just too expensive.
Yeah, but it's one of those brand halo things where if you're offering us a luxury watch that costs $10,000-$20,000, like how much better does that make your MacBook Air look too? I mean, if it's a strategically interesting thing for Apple. Microsoft's not going to be coming out with a luxury watch. No. You know, it's a product that in some ways only a brand like Apple that's already like put themselves in that category of being high end and premium brand can pull off in a way that, you know, we've already seen. Samsung already has 5 smartwatches, but would you call any of them like a luxury watch that people would look at next to a Rolex and really consider like, oh, I don't know which I want to drop my.
See, I'm thinking of like even just the Apple Watch that we know of so far, looking at it next to something like a Rolex or a really beautiful Swiss watch it's not the same. It's digital, and it's just so weird to me to sort of look at it that way. And for me, like the Huawei watch, the Android Wear watch that they unveiled at Mobile World Congress, like that for me is one of the closer like products that looks it looks premium. It's beautiful. And then, you know, Microsoft it feels like they really want to kind of do this cross-platform thing right now, which I think is very exciting. Mm-hmm. They're doing the Microsoft Band, which is compatible with pretty much everything. And then also, you know, now they're starting to move all their software apps into other ecos. They bought Acompli, they bought Sunset. So they're kind of finding ways to get into all of the ecosystems, which I think is really exciting. And very different from what Apple's doing, which is, you know, wall the gardens up higher, like make the walls higher.
It's worked for us so far, though. Yeah. It's like as much as anyone can take Apple to task on the closed ecosystem of their products, it really has brought them to where they are, and that's been their weapon against Android and even the world of Windows and Microsoft that, you know, they've laid to ruin in some ways for the laptop market.
Right.
So. We'll see, and we'll see what else Apple is going to squeeze into this event. We are taking your calls. Again, the number is 888-900-CNET. We want to hear what products you're most looking forward to. We want to hear all of your hopes and dreams for what an Apple Watch could be, and how you might be willing to part with a boatload of money to make off with one of these. Maybe which edition, regular version, sport version is the most eye-catching for you. We want to hear from you. And again, we're also taking your tweets at anything, #CNET Live, and we'll hear from you. Now, what else do we want to talk about before the show gets started? We'll be taking calls soon, but anything else that you guys want to get off your chest about the... no.
Do we have Brian Tong's opinion on this?
Yeah,
I think
we should actually
in Hawaii right now. Do we have that beach?
I think we
have Steve
do.
Beacham? I think we have him in Hawaii, which is you guys are gonna be excited about this. He's coming off to us all the way from Hawaii. There he is.
Look at him.
Oh,
Brian
wow.
Tong. He's having a great vacation, you guys. He just cannot be bothered.
It takes a lot of core strength to be able to hold that pose that long,
too. It really
too.
does. You know, he looks like he's having a really good time. I'm excited for him.
I'm glad we didn't spoil it for him, you know, with this event, having him fly in early.
No, definitely not. I think he was sort of bummed that,
he doesn't look
picture, he doesn't look very bummed.
He does not look
Yeah, he looks pretty happy. I don't know.
I like how the hair piece integrates with the stripe. It actually looks like a double stripe action.
Yeah, like a double wreath. Yeah. It's like a double wreath. It's delightful.
Yeah, the more I look at that, I'm oddly aroused. It's making me ask questions about myself. I didn't expect to.
It's reminding me of the tong thong. That could also be announced today. It's obligatory. The tong thong could be announced today. I can't do the dance because I'm not Brian Tong.
#Cisco, #CNET Live.
Yeah, and for the record, everybody, he is alive and well. He is alive and well. So one of the things a lot of people are asking about in the YouTube feed is Apple TV. what if that's something that they could bring out? They could trot out an upgraded set-top box.
It's really interesting. I feel like the past week for GDC, there were a few different set-top boxes that were all aimed at gaming, but were like monster, like Android TV set-top boxes that could spit out 4K, 60 frame per second, like video streaming video games. The NVIDIA Shield box was one of them, and then there was another one that SteamOS. That's right.
Right.
I feel like there is this mounting pressure for Apple to put out a much beefier, more capable box, for nothing else, to be able to kind of, push out the 4K capability as a possibility for all these luxury watch owners are going to be the first group to buy the 4K TVs too, right?
Yeah.
It's true.
You're going to get the bundle package. You get your Apple Watch Edition, and then you get a 4K TV. It's also 18 karat gold plated. Just get it all together at the same time.
For a low price
at your
of
local
$30,000.
luxury store, whatever that is.
Right.
It will be curved as well.
Oh yeah, of course,
Yes.
of course.
So yeah, I think that's a strong enough rumor that I feel like this year, no matter what, they've got to be updating Apple TV. There's just the mounting pressure from the Amazons, the Googles, and all of the streaming gaming, competition, that they've left the Apple TV to just kind of sit there for the past
For
few
quite
years.
a while.
Yeah, maybe with like quiet little software updates or a little spec bump, but the same device.
I mean, even the software is just so boring. I mean, it's just you use it and that's fine. Like, it's a grid and all that, and it's very reminiscent of the iPhone, of course. But at the end of the day, it's like, guys, you could do better than this. The design could be better, I think. And I really, at the end of the day, I'd like to really see an Apple TV that has a little bit more integration with my cable box, maybe, or my gaming, my consoles, or I love what NVIDIA is doing with their Shield set-top box, where you get the controller and the box. It's $199, and then you have access to all of those games on Grid, which is that streaming subscription service. That's fantastic, and then also you have access to Google Play.
All right, we've got Tim Stevens on the line here. Tim is at the Apple event right now. Hey, Tim, can you hear me? Tim, we got you.
Just had him. I just lost him.
Tim. Tim gave up. Yeah, it's all right.
He's
We'll have him back. We'll get him back
Cook
on.
Tackled him until he could get out.
The Apple PR came up. They're like, "No, you can have the continental breakfast we're offering, but you cannot call from the line.
No,
we forbid it.
They don't allow that." Just so everybody knows, this has been a really kind of weird, for everyone watching at home, this has been kind of a weird day for everybody to kind of be here, because we're just coming back from Mobile World Congress. So everybody's still got a full brain of information from that. And then also we've got the Apple event, and then, everybody is sort of, because of Mobile World Congress, like some people are on vacation, and so we've got quite a scatter.
Yeah. Well, there's a reuniting that's happening right now, but it might be even a brief one as we go off to other events. But it's been a pretty interesting few weeks too. I feel like we're still going to be sorting through a lot of the product announcements that have happened. For nothing else, like the amount of VR goggles that I need to keep track of now.
I don't know which one I'm going to buy now.
Seriously.
It's really hard. I mean, my Christmas list just keeps going. It's just all VR headsets. There's like 8. I just feel very terrible about that. So let me. I'm really curious as to competition.
Sure.
So we've discussed. You did a top 5 at one point of Apple Watches. This is all the competition they have. So we have. Let's just run through the list. We got the Moto 360. Oh, do we have Tim? Do we have Tim?
We may. Tim's on the guest line. Here we go. Tim. Hey, Tim, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, Tim, it's Donald. Thanks for calling us.
Sure thing, Donald. Thanks for having me.
Sorry, I lost my headphones real there.
Oh no.
Thanks for calling us. What's the atmosphere like over at the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts?
Well, it's a large gathering of journalists, as you can very well imagine. We all got here pretty early in the morning to stand in line, and then about 20 minutes ago, the registration opened, and they basically herded us through into another area we could stand in a second line. So now we're basically standing around. They've got a little breakfast bar going, so people are getting some croissant, some espresso going.
All right.
We're waiting to get into the event itself. We're guessing probably about maybe 20 minutes to let us into the venue proper. We can get our seats and get ready to bring the live load.
And you've done enough of these now, Tim, to know not to drink the coffee or the orange juice, right? Because you got to sit down for a long time.
Yeah, I've done quite a few, and I know not to drink too much. I'm not a coffee drinker myself, but I'm very judicious with my selection of beverages in the morning to make sure that I can make it through these events. I'm guessing this one might be a bit of a long one.
All right. Do you think this is going to be a hard sell for? No, that's it. You got Apple PR tackled him again. We put you in the second line, Tim. We told you not to talk in the first
You're supposed
line.
to be in the third line.
We tried to tell you.
All right. Well, maybe we'll be able to talk to him again. Are we going to try to call him back, or are we going to? Okay.
I'll try.
All right. Yeah. But the question I was going to try to ask Tim.
He's back on already.
He's already back on.
All right. Let's ask him.
Let's go to him.
Let's ask him the question.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on.
That's okay. I lost my headphones earlier. You can drop the phone a couple times. It's okay. How hard a sell do you think this is going to be for Apple? I know Apple is already shown us the Apple Watch, but what do they have to do today to really convince people that this is something they're going to want to spend their money on?
Sorry, Don, I'm only getting every other word from you.
All right, it's fine.
Might be too many phones in the area.
Can you hear me better?
I can hear you better.
All right. What do you think Apple's going to do today to really put the Apple Watch on people's radar to make it something that's going to be real to them?
I think we'll see a lot of talk about why this needs to fit into your life, why you need this device. I think we'll see a lot of discussions, a lot of use cases, a lot of examples. I think we'll see a lot of application demos today, too, because, we already know the basics about the watch. We know about the three models. We know the functionality, the basics that it offers. But Apple hasn't really spent a lot of time to introduce us to why this needs to fit into our lives. So I think we'll see a lot of that kind of thing, a lot of inspirational, aspirational kind of videos, demos, and graphic announcements, that kind of thing. I think that'll be a big feature and big focus of today's event. So I'm curious to see what they do. But, we've already seen a lot of messaging from Tim Cook on explaining why the watch is so great into his life. I think we'll see that kind of extended to why it's so great in each of our lives.
Do you think Apple's going to fit a lot of other products into this demonstration or into this announcement, or are they going to keep it really on message with the Apple Watch?
I do expect that we'll see some sort of a Mac product today. I'm hoping it's going to be that mythical 12-inch MacBook Air with a Retina display we've been hearing about, if only because I really, really want one of those myself. We might see an update to the Apple TV. We've been predicting an update for the Apple TV for, I don't know, at least a half a decade now. Something that'll do gaming and simple stuff like that. We haven't seen it yet, maybe today. But by and large, no, I think this will be a really focus on the Apple Watch itself. I think we'll see a lot of things telling us why we need to buy this watch, why we need to buy it soon. Although the question, of course, will be how soon can we buy it and how much will we have to spend for it?
I think how much we'll have to spend for it is the big one for me. Now, do you see a lot of reporters there with timepieces already there? Are they trying to? Is there a lot of Google Android Watch action happening there?
I'm looking around now. I'm actually wearing a Moto 360 today, if only so that I can do the comparison shot that I think a lot of people will want to see. But no, by and large, there are a lot of naked wrists. Of course, there are a lot of people wearing thick jackets because it's kind of cold in the morning. But no, most people are not wearing a wristwatch today. So, I think Apple does have a bit of an uphill battle there. A lot of people get used to not wearing a watch anymore. Whether people want to start wearing one again, I guess we'll see.
Do you see any? Are there any unusual additions to the crowd there? Is there a fashion contingent? I know Apple's really trying to position this as a luxury item. Are the Dolce and Gabbana crew there, or does it seem still mostly like a tech reporter crew?
It definitely does seem to be the familiar journalist tech faces, the ones that you see at the average event. It's a little bit hard to say if there are some other people hanging around here. There are some gold badged VIP people who are lurking around. But no, I haven't recognized any major fashion designers or anything like that. So I think by and large it's still mostly the tech crew. But certainly I think there probably are some Vogue folks who are mixed into the crew here. So.
All right, Tim, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for talking with us, and get a good seat. Enjoy the show.
Always my pleasure. Enjoy the live blog. Enjoy the coverage. And thanks, guys.
All right, Tim. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, now, of course, my call computer is shut down again.
Well, listen, it doesn't. You're not. It's recognizing that you're not Brian Tong, and it's going to be very upset. You're not Brian Tong.
I miss his touch.
Yeah,
that's what it
you're
says.
not caressing that computer.
You're not
the right
dancing
way,
enough.
obviously.
That's what's happening. You're not dancing enough. That's
You're
how
not
you
singing.
keep it.
Yeah,
You're
you're
gonna
not
generate power for this computer by dancing and singing.
Well,
So good.
we'll see what we can do.
Do you want to take some calls? I can call up
Yeah.
some calls.
No, actually, I've done this enough times now, resetting it, that I'm back on.
Excellent.
Oh, you got it? Okay, cool.
Let's take our first call. I think this is Shamar from Atlanta. Let's see what we can do.
Oh, Shamar.
Shamar, are you there?
Hey, what's going on, Donald?
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's our old friend Shamar.
Ashley. First of all, let me just say it's good to see you in the lead man position.
Every once in a while,
Hey.
every once in a while they let me drive. It's nice.
So versus you being the cynical side, man. Warner's getting the lead.
That'll warm up eventually. You know me.
Yeah, exactly. So the question I had, though, actually kind of touched on as far as with the iPods already. So I'll kind of change gears here. What kind of upgrade cycle are we going to see for this thing, considering that you're going from $349 and up?
Yeah.
It always amazes me, like when people bling out a cell phone, like $5,000, $6,000, and then it's like obsolete the next year. So it's just, I'm wondering, especially since this thing isn't going to be independent of the iPhone,
right.
At least not like the LG Urbane LTE. So I'm just curious, like what type of upgrade cycles is going to be, and is it going to be like a 1 year, maybe 2 year deficit? Span between them.
I know what you're saying. I'm not to spoil it for you, but I did a top 5 reasons not to buy an Apple Watch as soon as it was announced, just to capitalize on all the trolls and haters who might want to click on that video. But the number one reason I came up with was Apple Watch 2. Like Apple is always really great at knocking it out of the park on the second generation of any product they come out with. You think about the second generation iPad being half the thickness of the original iPad. You think about the second generation iPhone having like 3G capabilities and like being an amazingly better phone than the first generation iPhone.
App Store.
Having an app store. Yeah, that was nice.
Can you imagine little tiny app stores on the watches?
Yeah, even today when I was looking at reviewing the photos that they have on Apple of all the beautiful beautifully rendered Apple Watch photos, I could already see future Donald looking back at those and be like, man, that was thick.
Yeah.
That was a chunky watch that they made to look as beautiful as possible. But I am sure that the second generation version of that is already in an R&D lab somewhere in Cupertino and is probably much thinner.
Probably half as thick.
Right, exactly. So I do think that's a big. I mean, Apple has shown this again and again that they are usually on a year to 2 year max cycle on these products, and that there is a far more beautiful, more elegant, longer lasting, thinner Apple Watch on the horizon within 2 years at most, is probably enough to give people pause on dropping $5,000 to $10,000 or even $500 to $1,000 on a luxury watch.
So Shamar, I think that it's going to be what Apple always does, which is for tech nerds like us, we upgrade every year, no matter what. But then I've got family who haven't upgraded they still have iPhone 4s, and they'll keep it for years and years and years. And I think that those people get into they'll get into smartwatches a little later, so they'll probably have a second or third generation Apple Watch. But if they decide to buy one, but it'll end up being that they keep it for a couple of years before upgrading again. And so, and the people who spend $20,000 that without even thinking about it, dropping it on an Apple Watch edition, if that's the price, or $10,000 or even $5,000, those seem like mostly people who will be able to continue to upgrade them every single year, if they choose to.
What I was going to say is, like, with the iPads and everything, like, I went to go get my iPad Air 2. Now, normally, I'm always used to these big, long lines for these products, and even for it now, I think that people are looking at the price tag and going, okay, wait, my last year's model works pretty good, or the model before that works pretty good. I think I'm going to hold off. So I'm just curious to see how they're going to, basically what you guys have been talking about as far as how they're going to market something that you really don't need.
Yeah. So here's the double-edged sword of the Apple Watch. It's genius if you're Apple, which is that unlike anything else you buy from Apple, you wear this on your wrist. Like people will see it every day. And so if you're an early adopter, you're going to get maximum like Apple fanboy nerd points having this on your wrist for the first year that it's out, right? Everyone's going to be like coming up to you, wanting to talk about your watch.
Lots of questions.
It's going to be great.
Right.
Now, as soon as the second one comes out,
generation iPhone, I felt like a rock star for a little while.
Yeah, right, exactly. I remember that first iPhone rock stardom that was conveyed. I remember the iPod when it first came out. Anyone walking around with that white brick was immediately a music god.
Yeah.
Just having the white headphones was like a signal to everybody.
Right.
I got an Apple. I got an Apple.
And
product.
Apple's had enough experiences with products like that I'm sure they know that this is going to have that effect as soon as it gets out the door. But now as soon as the second sexier version comes out the door, that thing that you're wearing on the wrist that you can't hide, like you can hide an old iPhone in your pocket, you can hide an old iPad, you know, in your bathroom, but you're not going to be able to hide the fact that you've got, you know, a 2-year-old, you know, Apple Watch on your wrist. Now, if you have a 50-year-old Rolex on your wrist, it doesn't matter, right? It's vintage at that point, and it's awesome. Every year that goes by, it's a more amazing timepiece. Yeah.
It's worth more.
But an Apple Watch is not going to have that same effect. I don't think so.
Maybe the first generation. I mean, I know people who have keep it in the box, I guess, if you want it to be worth something in the future. This product feels like such a risk for Apple. And I truly mean that in the sense of Apple gave us the iPhone to tell us that we didn't need watches anymore. Like, here's an iPhone. Now you don't even need to check your watch. It's all on your phone.
Yeah.
And now they're like, about that. We know that's what we said, but now we're telling you maybe you should now get a watch. And it's like,
the other thing that
people
they had was like the product consolidation, right? The iPhone was not only just like replacement for your watch, it would replace your iPod, which we also sell. You don't need that anymore because it's in your phone.
Right. The internet.
Right. It's all these things. You know, it's all in your phone now, and now they've run out of things to consolidate. So they're like, you know, that watch. Let's
piece it out. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So next we're gonna have like a separate thing for an iPod. Maybe they'll update the iPod.
Right.
That's the separate thing as well.
You were saying, Shamar?
Now everybody's on phone. Now we're going to a big phone. So
right.
It just seems the process seems to recycle for the later generation. Oh, remember when we had that? Yeah, no, it's not that anymore. No, that's out of date.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Shamar. All right, thanks for your call. We're gonna move on. We got some other people on the line here, but yeah, we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Shamar.
Okay, great talking to you guys. Have a good morning.
Bye.
All right, let's go to Alberto in Sacramento. Alberto, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, thanks for calling. What did you want to talk to us about today? I mean, probably a watch, but what else would you like?
About more info about on the Macs, on the MacBook.
What are you looking for in a MacBook?
I don't know. I would really like to see if they unveiled a 5K MacBook Pro or MacBook Air.
5K, a 5K display might not be totally out of the question. Maybe a 5K cinema display, because I know that's something a lot of designers have been kind of hoping for, but they haven't quite seen it yet. But maybe we'll see it later this year when they refresh that line. I don't know. But I think a 5K. I don't know if we're gonna. Do you think we'll see a 5K laptop this year?
I feel like for a 5K number, that feels like a big enough thing that they would have a separate announcement around that or branding around that. I don't know. I feel like we'll probably see a refresh, spec bump, and maybe a Retina iPad or MacBook Air today, but nothing that would again creep in and overshadow what they're showing off on wrists.
Yeah, I can't really imagine that they would do both. I think the Retina Air would probably be its own, along with the watch being the main news.
But the Retina Air is like, it's an already existing product.
Right.
So it seems like that might be a thing that they sort of like half refresh.
Okay.
Where they kind of talk about the success of Yosemite, like they talk about, and then, because you know how these events kind of go. Yeah. And then they say, that's why, today we're going to have this 12-inch, but, maybe. Because they like to come out and talk about developers. They like to talk about all the, all the money that they've given developers. They have the big check and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're. It could only be the watch today. It might only be the watch.
It might be just the watch and watch apps. That might be it. But we'll see.
But yeah, 5K. That's a nice number to put around, but I don't think they're going to do that today.
Yeah.
But,
just like last year with the 5K iMac.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Apple's still running the desktop computer game. I mean, as far as people who are actually buying any kind of new desktop computer, they seem to be. Apple's the only one, with numbers that they actually like to brag about.
True.
For
That's very
otherwise
true.
shrinking market.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you get the MacBook you want today, Alberto. But other than that, I've got no other information. Are you thinking about the watch at all? Is that of any interest to you, or are you just hanging on just to see what they're gonna do with the MacBooks?
Yeah, I want to see also the watch, but the only thing that firstly, for me to get the watch, Apple would have to make the watch compatible with iPad, since I don't have iPhone. I have an Android phone.
Well,
interesting.
There's always hope, right?
Alberto, how much do you think the highest end Apple Watch is going to cost? I want to start taking. I'm curious. I'm going to start asking our callers questions.
Name your price.
From what I've seen and the stuff I've read on CNET, I don't know. I would say Probably 10,000 would be a good guess.
What?
10,000.
That's amazing.
10,000. All right. I mean, I could. That's the thing, though, is I would say that's not unreasonable. If it's a gold watch, gold band,
Yeah.
could be 10,000.
Got some high rollers. We should do the follow-up question of what do you do? What do you do for a living? Because I want some career advice.
Listen, Oprah, if you're watching, and I'm sure you are because you love CNET, I'm positive of this. You could just call us and maybe do my favorite things that is only Apple Watch edition based, and we could have a whole big party with like 10,000 of our viewers, and she could just give an Apple Watch to every single one of them.
I'll take the Stedman edition.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think that is delightful. That is great.
All right, Alberto, thanks for giving us a call. I hope you get your MacBook. We're going to move on, but thanks for calling.
Yeah.
All right, and we got Min from Washington. Min, are you there?
Yes.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Hello.
All right, what?
Hi, Donald.
Hey,
Jason and Ashley. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
So I have
what's your question?
Statement, and then I have one question.
All right, I'll take both.
My statement is our company actually made an app for the Pebble Watch, and interestingly, we had made an app for the Apple Watch, but we can't upload it, which is kind of interesting. It's all done, ready to go, but there's no way to upload this Apple Watch app.
Is it an app specifically for the watch, or is it like an app that would already exist for the iPhone and is an extension of that?
It's an extension, so it would connect to the app for the iPhone.
All right, Jason.
And
you got to answer this one.
No, I don't know.
Make this happen.
No, I don't know. There's no way to upload it?
No. I even emailed Apple multiple divisions. I went on the forums. I guess they're just not opening the gates yet for the apps.
It could be that they're kind of just cherry picking the developers and apps that they want to showcase first on the watch, and then they'll open the gates hopefully.
Well, isn't it true? I'm curious if you could answer this. I know that with the watch faces, like the developer API hasn't been opened yet for that. Is that right? For the watch faces. Yeah,
correct.
for like the custom faces we haven't seen. So maybe they're kind of holding back and they just want to show off partnerships. Those cause I'm sure, listen, guys, Tim Cook's going to come out and buy something from Panera Bread today, probably. Loves Panera Bread. Going to come out with his little Apple Watch.
He's crazy about his carbs.
He's going to get his melange on, and he's just going to boop, and then he's going to buy some, like a baguette or something. And
you got to remember how locked down the original iPhone was, too.
Yeah,
remember how much they
Store.
controlled that experience? No App Store, but you can even put your own image on the phone, right? It took a while before you could actually set like a background image on the phone, right? Wasn't that I remember that being a big deal? Like, oh my gosh, I can change the background image on my phone. Maybe I'm not remembering.
That was such an exciting time.
It was.
Now seems so mundane.
I know, but the degree of controlling that experience, at least initially, of making sure that everyone has, because especially when you're in that show-off mode of someone who has like a new thing that no one else has yet, and they're showing it off to everybody. Apple risking the chance that someone's going to have the Cisco wallpaper on their Apple Watch.
The left shark
is not worth it for them to be able to control that experience, to make sure that even when people are showing it off, it looks the way they want it to look.
I think that you're right. And up front, I think that's why they haven't set off that developer API, because it's almost like themes on Android. So it's like at first there wasn't a whole lot of that, and now there's so many. And some of them are just hideous. I mean, I have an HTC One, and it's just like some of these themes are just like, what is happening here? But it looks like an old GeoCities page where it's like, you're ready for like animated GIFs to be falling for the. It's just really not good.
It could be cool. All right, so that was your statement, man. I'm sorry we couldn't solve that one for you, but was there a question that was separate from that?
Yeah, I was curious what all of you thought about an iPhone that's slightly bulkier so that it would have more battery life, because I think CNET just had an article on that. And it seems like the market wants a slightly bulkier iPhone so that their phones could last longer. Because nowadays people, they use their phone for everything, not just making phone calls. And Apple seems resistant to that as much as they were resistant to making a bigger iPhone. And now that they have, they're selling iPhones like crazy.
Well,
what are your thoughts on a slightly bulkier iPhone?
I mean, it makes sense, and that's exactly why Apple won't do it. I mean, you're using logic here, where logic has no home at Apple. So I think it would be a great thing, but I don't see Apple doing it. Their MO has always been thinner, sexier, at the expense of battery life, or at least being able to hold on to a battery life number and be able to shave even just millimeters off of it to make it a thinner phone. I don't know why they're so like skinny obsessed, but that's just the way Apple has always been. What do you think, Jason?
I think that's kind of the holy grail for any company, whether it's Samsung or anybody. Yeah. If anybody can come out with a phone that suddenly has 2 days of battery life,
no, but
people are gonna.
They have, though. I mean, there was like the whole Droid Razr Max.
Yeah, I think there's
Max, double Max experience,
and
right?
some people don't use their phones the way that we do.
That's true.
So it's, I mean, an iPhone 6 Plus lasts my mom a couple days, but it's like, for me, it's like half a day, which I'm the worst. Like with my iPhone 6 Plus, everyone's like, wow, the battery must last so long. I'm like, yeah, get it. 5 o'clock.
And
it's great.
I will bet you that Apple will actually find a way to spin the Apple Watch as a way to save battery life on your phone.
I'm sure.
Like you're checking it less
100%.
because you're checking the screen on your wrist. You're probably less likely to fish your phone out of your pocket, turn on that screen, and check it. All the notifications are going to your arm.
What are the odds on an ad where they do this very sort of, well, you know how their ads are, but it's like they do this ad where it's like, see the world out in front of you, not looking at your screen anymore. Like they get very like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, you're not going to be living in a screen world. You're going to see everything. Like I just have this feeling we're going to see this kind of very, almost obnoxious.
They're going to have to walk a fine
They
line.
really will. I know, because it's like you can't cannibalize the iPhone, but then there's that Apple commercial.
They're like 5 years ago, we enslaved you to a phone.
Exactly. Like we
now
captured your
spend
soul
more money to
inside a
help us
box.
liberate your eyeballs from the very device that we hooked you on to begin with.
Exactly. It's like saying 5 years ago we got you hooked on crack.
Right.
Now we have this other thing. It's like, no, it's not how it works.
That is exactly how it works, Ashley.
Yeah, and Tim Cook's like, Ashley.
Right.
That is exactly how it works.
Yeah, you just need to see how many board members have come over from Philip Morris.
Exactly.
I'm sure somebody there has probably spent some time there. All right, man. I hope that it wasn't just all sarcasm. I hope that actually got some solid opinions there for you.
It was a very interesting perspective.
All right. Thanks for your call. Good luck with getting the app there.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So we have time. What's the time? We're about 15
17 minutes. We got time
Plenty
for another
of time.
caller.
All right. We got time for another call. We've got Scott from Tulsa. Scott, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Thanks for hanging in there for us. What's your question today?
I was wondering how game-centric the watch is going to be. Like, is it going to have Game Center, OpenGL, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's a good question.
That is just something that we do not know yet.
Well, the first generation watch right now, as far as we know, is actually most of the apps on the watch are going to be driven by your iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that we do know. And I think that that's probably to save battery life. That's like the number one thing. I'm sure that's a battery saving measure. We might see things running directly off of the watch maybe later this year, but honestly, I have a feeling it might be generation 2.
Yeah.
Like things running directly off the watch. But even then, it's all about battery. So it's like if they can't get the battery to last long enough, it's mostly going to be driven by your iPhone.
And I think the follow-up question for me, and this might just be me being an old man about this, but like, do you really want to play games on your watch, especially when you've got a capable phone already in your pocket?
Heck
How
yes.
good
Heck
is
yes,
that?
you do.
Yeah, yes, you do. Okay, we got the answer. Jason's a solid yes.
Jason's in. He's in for it. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I like specifically asking caller. What do you think? Is that something that you would want? Like, do you want games on your watch? And considering the size of the screen, especially the smaller screen, what types of games would we be seeing?
Well, I actually have a Pebble. There's a game on my watch. It's called Ping Wings. It's basically a ripoff of Tiny Wings. Also, I have Flappy Bird and Snake on it. They're pretty fun games. Just kind of sit around, play it, not have to whip out your phone.
Right. Well, that makes sense. I mean, It's possible. I think that even being able to launch it on your watch, but then have your phone drive it is not out of the question. I don't think that's out of the question at all.
You're not going to be playing Modern Combat on your
no,
watch.
no Crisis.
They're not going to have the Infinity Blade demo for the Apple Watch.
No.
Yeah, but I like Flappy Bird, things like that. Like I could
Angry
see.
Birds. I could see that too.
I could see where you'd be able to do it. Force Touch might be an interesting sort of developer.
I could see a two-person game where your watch is a controller and someone else is using your phone as another controller somehow, or two people can interact. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Or maybe your your actual Apple Watch would be sort of a motion sensor, like Wii almost, where for your phone.
Yeah, could be.
Like
Whoa.
something
All right,
for your phone.
if it is going to happen, we will see it today, I'm
Yeah.
sure, because they're going to give us every pitch possible for people buying an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
It'll be this doesn't work yet.
Yeah,
But this is
but it
coming.
will.
Yeah. All right, Scott, thanks for your call.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, taking another one. We got Kyle from Waynesville. We're going to talk about Apple virtual reality. Kyle, are you there?
Ooh.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, all right, good.
Hey,
what's
Kyle.
what's your insight on Apple virtual reality? Is this something you want?
All right. Yeah, well, I was curious to know what you guys thought about Apple stepping into that game, or if they were going to have a HoloLens competitor.
They are one of they are probably the biggest company that has not dabbled with that yet or made any hint at it yet. I don't know.
Right.
I feel like they're
or a augmented reality type of thing where you can control it with the Apple Watch.
Like a HoloLens or some kind of product like that.
I feel like their first step is probably getting gaming on Apple TV. That's been like one thing that is like an easy one for them to get that they still haven't done yet. But as far as the VR experience, I don't know. I've seen no indication that they're working on it. If Brian Tong were here, Mr. Applebite, he could probably tell you from deep within his well of Apple rumors how strong that one might be. But
with all their Retina display technology, you'd figure they would step into that game eventually.
Well, here's the thing though. I've seen historically with Apple is that they are never the first ones.
Yeah,
to
they always
do it.
They wait and they try to do it in a way that's somehow better or more accessible.
Right. So probably like Generation 5 Oculus Rift, Apple's going to be like, step aside, guys. We know how to do this. We're Apple, and they're going to try to dominate it and make it their own thing.
Yeah, they tend to do this thing where, and I think almost everything with the exception of the iPhone, but even then, I mean, we had phones, but like cell phones before that. But like they tend to do this thing where they look at all of the best parts of what everyone else is doing, and then they kind of just mash them all together and say, okay, we made this thing. And it's everybody's favorite parts of everything else. And so now you really want to buy it. And it's that Jedi mind trick of like, here's why it's so great. And you want one and all this other stuff. But I think that it's possible that they would get into it, but then they would also, make the decision to sort of like, I'm sure there's some R&D team deep within the vaults of Apple that's working on something like this, just to even see if it works.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a possibility.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if we're going to see anything from them with VR for maybe a couple of years for two reasons. One, like you were saying, I think they're going to wait and see what everyone else does. And the other thing is I think that they're going to wait to see if there's even a market for that. Because it could be a fad. I don't think it will be. I'm a big VR fan, but it could be a fad, but it could be something huge and change everything.
If they do go into it, they'll probably come out with the sexiest pair of VR goggles, on the planet. That'll be their one angle.
Or like
right?
a
Space
like a
gray.
Google Glass type of thing. You never know.
HoloLens.
Well, Johnny Ive mentioned in a profile in the New Yorker that he was not a fan of Google Glass, and the reason being that he felt that the interface should not be on your face. Like he felt like it was too intrusive in people's like everyday
also
lives.
Apple though, they always dog the
your
thing
wrist
they're
then.
about to make. Yeah.
That's true. What were you saying?
Yeah. You're welcome. You guys take care.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, now again, I've lost.
So
the,
we
the
have
software.
some tweets. We have some CNET Live tweets.
Show me.
Michael is asking, do you think the watch bands will be a one-time purchase that would be compatible with future generations? So maybe. So people are saying, upgrading the Apple Watch edition, it's going to be, let's say it's $10,000.
Right.
Just throwing out a number. So with the gold band. So let's say second gen, you only have to buy the watch face and not the band. So he's asking if the watch bands are going to be a one-time purchase that you can then carry with you throughout the lifetime of the watch. That makes sense to me.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. But it makes sense to me that maybe we would see it sort of like the iPhone for a few generations. It's the same size. But generally watch bands tend to be kind of the same width. So
Standardized.
yeah, they're
even
kind of
then,
standardized.
Even then, though, like an expensive watch that you have to upgrade or you feel compelled to upgrade every 2 to 3 years is still a different proposition than what a lot of the other. If they're going for the luxury watch kind of community, I feel like what's interesting for Apple is that they're competing against the luxury watches at the same time they're competing with the Pebbles, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so they're having to keep up like the technology end on a year-to-year basis, but they're also trying to make the pitch that you can buy a watch that is expensive but is worth it and will last you a long time.
Yeah.
And so how they can reconcile that just through software, I don't know. I'm yet to be convinced, but today might be the day I'm convinced.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like the Debbie Downer of the group here because I'm like, I don't know, guys.
It's that seat.
I think it is.
That's
Like
the
I have
Donald
the
seat.
the Donald
Yeah.
Downer seat. Like I'm just like, like I don't. They're really gonna have to convince me. Like Apple is gonna have to come out guns a blazing and put on the pressure to convince me because thus far. It's a smartwatch, and I've seen other smartwatches that I really like. The Withings Activité Pop. I've seen the Microsoft Band. I have an interest in. I have an interest in the new Pebble, Pebble Time. I've got an interest in all of those things, and I don't see anything yet with the Apple Watch that's making me go, that's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one that I need. I'm gonna buy that, and I want to tell a bunch of people I know that that's the one to buy. Like most people who've asked me, well, what about smartwatches? What should I get? I say, well, it depends. Like it always depends. And so for me, it's just not there yet. I don't know.
No, you know,
we've just survived through a time where it was like the Google Glass was everywhere, not because there was any practical use for it, but because it was such an emblem of like being of this like geek consumer class that could either get in on it or afford it or whatever it was.
And before that, it was the Segway.
Yeah, the Segway. Oh.
Maybe it's a placeholder product, you know? Maybe it's just to help Apple get through until they can start selling us Apple cars for, you know, $50,000, $80,000.
I know. Yeah, well, I'm saving up for my
Apple car.
Self-driving electric GLaDOS-equipped Apple car, of course.
I've got a top 5 for that one, too. So.
Yeah, which reasons not to buy an Apple car. So apparently the stream... people are saying the stream is up, but I don't see it yet on Apple.com. That there's nobody on stage or anything.
We do have our first look inside the event.
Okay, so
this is on our live blog, live.cnet.com.
So our live blog, we're going to be, you're going to see up to the minute updates. Just so you guys know, we can't actually embed Apple's live stream into
those days are gone.
Those days are long gone. We can't actually embed the live stream into the show because Apple doesn't like that because they want you to watch it on an Apple product. And so they're very specific about that. So you have to have like Safari or an iPhone or Apple TV or whatever else.
But it doesn't mean you have to close out our live stream.
No.
You can have the best of both worlds.
You can.
You can have us talking in one ear or leaving you alone in one ear. And the Apple stream going. And also make sure if you've enjoyed this, you will enjoy even more the post-show wrap-up where we can really start getting to the meat of what Apple has presented and whether or not we're convinced and what else might be coming down the line.
Yeah,
and the Apple stream will probably fail, so this is the only place you're going to get all your information.
Yeah, if it's the same as the last Apple event, we're going to see Yerba Buena television with the
we're gonna have like
beautiful
a translator
version.
Yeah, the beautiful translator version. It's gonna be great. So we're gonna have this wonderful card with colors on it. It's gonna be fantastic. I hopefully it works. I don't know. But we will have, like we said, even if the stream is not working, we've got people inside ready to start talking about the Apple event, which is good. So here's an update on Brian Tong. Just there's a lot of people joining us very recently.
Why does Brian look so white?
Yeah, they're like, what is wrong with Brian
hair?
Tong? He must have gone to Norway for vacation and he got very tan, very, very white. He's on vacation, so he actually, we all say Apple events happen on Tuesdays.
They're Tuesday events.
So BT is actually coming home today, but later this afternoon. Oops. So we feel really bad that he can't be here, but he's here in spirit.
Yeah,
I wore purple for Brian Tong. I was going to wear a tie even.
I almost wore a tie for him, yeah.
It would have been, he'll be disappointed you didn't wear a tie.
I should have actually just put a Brian Tong wig on to see how many people I could fool for like a minute.
Cool. Yeah, that would have been good.
All right, do we want to take one more call before this thing gets started? All right, let's go with this. George. Hey, George, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. What would you like to talk to us about?
Pretty much wishful, thinking of what they're going to present, because I know they were going to present an iPad Pro that they're not presenting anymore, right? So the idea is, what happens if they just made it where it's a removable screen right off the MacBook Air or something like that, and you put it back in, you plug it back in, and you have full iOS because it has, let's say, an iCore 5 at the bottom. You pull it out, and it's just a regular iPad Pro tablet.
I'll say the same thing I said last time, which is you are living in a world of logic and practical products,
but also dreams
that the Apple does not share. So I think if Apple did make that, I think as practical as that might be, it would be seen as like a move towards a Microsoft Surface-like product,
right. Yeah.
And you bring up those comparisons.
Lenovo,
and I think Apple, as much as the tablet market is shrinking right now, not might be, but is, they do not want to look desperate at the top of the heap there.
No.
And so I don't think we'll see that.
Well, and of course, they're going to want you to buy both. They want you to buy a Retina MacBook Air and an iPad Pro later. They want you to buy both at the same time. That's the goal. That's why the stock is so high.
Yeah, but think about it. Where is my tablet right now? Right now, it's underneath like a doorstop.
I know.
I don't take it with me. I use my phablet, which I carry everywhere. So technically, whenever I need to use it, I just use it for a presentation because it's nice to point, to kind of like open up, pinch zoom, and show people things that you really want to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
That I can't do that on a regular laptop. So the combination kind of makes it make it like a touch screen, on a laptop.
I don't disagree with you.
No,
I mean, I'd love
totally
that.
Agree.
I think that would be amazing. Will Apple do it? Probably not. Because they hate us. They want to make us just feel bad about everything.
Well, I mean, also the iPad product has been one that from the outset has always been a sell on battery life.
Mm-hmm.
And so as much as Apple could do things to improve the performance of it, at the sacrifice of battery life, I don't think they ever would.
Right.
That's going back to you being practical with the watch not being... Like, for instance, Google right now is making a watch that's going to be able to come out with work with iOS.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Android Wear, why wouldn't they do it backwards, like to try to pull people into the Apple ecosystem?
Because that's going to be a great announcement for them to do 3 years from now.
Mm-hmm. When people start to leave.
Like, we thought of an amazing feature. You're going to love it. It's compatible with Android now.
It's revolutionary.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this first announcement is really going to be to get a good cheer from the Apple loyalists and give them a fun trinket that they can show off, in front of everybody and brandish their Apple loyalty. Mm-hmm. But until such time as they see fit, we will probably not see cross compatibility with other operating systems.
Do you think the big feature would be like carrying no keys anymore? Like, that would be a big feature for me. I could open up my door with the watch, start my car, open up my car, and there's already Bluetooth devices out there that are doing this today. So kind of matching it, working with other manufacturers and making that happen. You could do the credit card kind of pay. You could do opening the doors, and in a way you're really not needing a device. You go to the gym, let's stream your music, kind of stuff.
I think that you're 100% right. I think that this is going to be a big push. The watch in the future, if not this year, this generation, going forward, Apple with HomeKit and CarPlay, that is absolutely going to be a thing. They're going to want to integrate that watch with every aspect of your life so that it becomes more and more compelling to buy it. So I think you're absolutely on the right track there.
But I think at the outset, though, it's going to be a lot more sizzle than steak. I think there's not going to be a lot of things you can do with it yet.
Right.
But
they might bring
the
out
promise
like
of it,
Schlag or
the
something.
promise of it's going to be so compelling. That's going to be you're going to be sitting there at the Apple Store looking at it, and you're like, why do I want to buy this?
What am I going to do with this?
It can open my car door at some point. I know it will.
Yeah,
That's why I'm going to get it.
There are already apps for Honeywell and Lutron, so you can do things like
adjust your thermostat.
Set your thermostat or turn on the lights and things like that. And there's also with a certain hotel chain, I don't have it in front of me right now, but you'll be able to unlock
your hotel
door.
I think it's like Marriott.
Think of all the things we used to do like with our hands that we'll now be able to do with our watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the way
exactly
to see
right.
it.
It's just so random. Well, thanks for calling. We appreciate you calling in. Those were some really good points.
We're going to have to stop calls now, though. I think the Apple event's going to
Thanks a
start
lot,
up
guys.
momentarily.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thanks, George. All right.
Those are some great and excellent points.
Yes.
We have really good listeners. Like, you guys always think of really good questions. You have really good insight.
CNET people are good people.
Yeah,
We've
really
also got
good,
Allison out here screening the calls. So,
yeah, so thanks for screening those calls.
Who
Allison.
knows
Really
how many
appreciate
maniacs called up in between those great calls Allison had to
screaming
weed
at
out.
me. Fire the blonde. Fire her. I'm sure we get a lot of those.
Brian Tong looks old now. Fire him, too.
I know. Brian Tong didn't wear a tie today. Get him all out of here. So the stream should be starting momentarily if it hasn't already.
Yeah, we got some more pictures from inside the event.
Excellent.
Yeah, the stream is already started for CNET over at cnet.com/live, right? Or live.cnet.com.
Live.cnet.com.
Live.cnet.com. Let's see. So who do we have on the ground there? We've got
Tim Stevens.
We got Scott Stein.
Scott Stein, and we have
Shar
Shar
Tipkin.
Tipkin, Dan Ackerman.
Dan Ackerman.
Now, Dan is there probably because of Apple inviting him, knowing that he's a laptop guy. So it's like, because both, and Scott's really part of that legacy too, although Scott's really our wearable guy more than anything now. So he's there for watches. Shar is there for CNET News. But the only reason they would really be inviting Dan is for some kind of laptop announcement. So that's a big tell.
Right. I'm not really curious.
Looks like they started video.
Oh, Bonnie says they have started video.
And so, Jason Parker, thank you for spending this time with us. I know you've got slideshows to produce and reactions to give and other CNET goodies to dispense on CNET.com.
Correct. So please
your
pay
skills are
attention
needed
to that
elsewhere.
as well, because we're going to have stories coming out by the millions.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that does it for Jason. We're a man down, but we can do this, Ashley.
We're gonna make it. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, we still got Steven
We got
on the ones and
donuts.
twos.
I'm here.
We got
I'm
donuts.
awake. I'm awake.
We're an
There's more
hour
pictures.
behind in our minds.
Ooh, I don't know. Is that an
I think
Escalade?
that's an Apple Store.
Apple Store.
I think so. Well, they're going to show all those
That's right.
those giant safes
We've been
where they're
doing
going to
great.
keep the Genius Bar and the watches.
Right.
They're going to keep the Geniuses
So it's
also in the safe.
video. There's going to be probably some new Johnny Ive video where he talks slowly
And he says
about how amazing
other
experience
smartwatches
has
are
been."
absolutely dreadful. I do a terrible Johnny Ive.
Ah,
I'm sorry. everybody.
the effort alone is making me giggle.
Well, I'm willing to go out on a limb. What can I say? Do you think? Are you gonna we're gonna talk about this throughout the whole thing? Like,
All right.
are we gonna buy this? Are people gonna buy this? Are people who are not super into Apple or otherwise hardcore tech enthusiasts gonna buy this watch at $349?
I think single Silicon Valley guys are going to buy this watch. It's a great pickup item. You know, it's one of those that it'll get attention from the bar, and it's a signal that they are well to do, and are willing to spend money recklessly. But as a content married gentleman here who has no love for timepieces, there's no reason I'm going to be picking this thing.
Yeah. Tim Cook is on stage. He is very excited to be
He looks
in
fired
San
up.
Francisco. Yeah, he apparently looks pumped. He's coming out.
He looks pumped.
He punched the sky just like Steve Ballmer. No, he didn't do that. I would literally pay $349 to see that. If that was what it cost to see Tim Cook come out and punch the sky, I think I would pay it. I think I would do it. So again, just so you guys know who are watching the live stream on YouTube, we cannot embed the Apple live stream, the event live stream. We are not allowed because Apple does not like it when you watch their live stream on non-Apple products. So you have to watch it in Safari. You have to watch it on an iPhone, an Apple TV. Any way you can get it on an Apple product, that is the only way to watch the actual live stream of the event.
Mm-hmm. And you can keep us running in another window. You can turn us down if you want to. I would forgive you for that.
I would too. I would not be upset at all.
But think of us as like the sub channel, like the director's
colored
commentary,
yeah.
where we're going to be trying to cut through the Jedi mind trickery that's going to be imposed on you from Apple. I mean, there's no way around that. All you're going to be getting from Apple is the beautifully crafted sell on why you should be buying this.
Mm-hmm,
We're here to hold you back down to earth.
I'm gonna bring you right back down. I'm gonna drag you into the dip.
When Tim Cook shows off the gold chain, watch strap for that Apple Watch that you really want, we're here to tell you that is going to be a $10,000 item and might not be worth the time or the money.
Maybe your money would be better well spent on other things, like lots of other stuff. Like all the gaming consoles. It's just so
they're
many.
talking about.
So let's see. What do we got going on?
Oh yeah, And this is the other thing. On top of like an Apple TV hardware refresh, there's like the idea of Apple TV doing like a Sling TV type service where you could pay a monthly fee and get live TV.
So I
from
think they're gonna
a group of partners.
I think they're gonna talk about HBO Now, which is their standalone service that they're gonna be launching in April.
Mm-hmm. Cable cutters, cord cutters.
Cord cutters. Everyone's kind of exciting about that. So they are they're talking about HBO. I have a feeling they're going to be maybe one of the first set-top boxes, maybe an exclusive even for a short amount of time, carrying HBO Now, which would be pretty exciting.
Game of Thrones,
got Silicon Valley, Veep. He's talking about all the good HBO shows. Last Week Tonight, one of my favorites.
John
Love
Oliver.
John Oliver.
Yeah.
I do find it very interesting. I agree with Scott Stein. This is very cool that they're starting with Apple TV. And maybe we'll see a new Apple TV, but I don't think we will. I don't know.
Could be.
So let's see.
I think they really want to make sure you're spending all of your focused Apple money on their new product.
So I'm going to ask everybody in the YouTube stream, if you are listening, would you buy a new Apple TV if it had HBO Now? And how much are you willing to pay for HBO Now? Like what's the cost? What's the limit for you? Is it $10 a month? Is it $8 like Netflix, or is it maybe $15 a month to get your your Game of Thrones fix? Because I know a lot of people are.
Or could it be bundled into like a larger Apple Prime type, Amazon Prime coverage, right? You're gonna get your Apple Care and your HBO and what have you, your Beats audio music streaming service. There is some way they could bundle a lot of these Apple services into a one big ticket item product.
So it does look like, here it is, HBO Now is Apple's, it's an exclusive partner at launch. So HBO Now, which is the standalone service, they are launching exclusively with Apple TV, which is pretty interesting. And a lot of people in the YouTube stream are like, nope, don't care, don't want to pay for it. A lot of people are saying they're just going to torrent it. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. But a lot of people are just saying they're not willing to pay for it. Like we got Arthur. He says he'd pay $21. Jeff says no more than £10. So Chronic says or the Music Troller says only if it's good. So that's pretty interesting. $14.99 a month. So my prediction was correct. I guessed that on my show last week.
Only to burn Comcast would be my answer.
I know, right? Yeah, like just to cancel my subscription. I bet $15, which isn't that like what most people pay as an add-on for their cable?
I think so, yeah.
So I mean that's sort of I already
unless
pay
you
that.
get some special Comcast deal. I think I'm paying like $5 or
$8 or something.
Yeah. So this year is like the great unbundling of cable, right?
Good.
So you're gonna get this. You're gonna be spending your $14.99 a month for this. You're gonna be spending your $8 a month for Netflix or whatever it is now, and then you're going to be maybe spending. What is the Sling TV pricing? Is that like 15?
$20. $20 a month, and then but like a lot of people are saying like it's I wouldn't pay more than $15 a month. It's more than I pay for Netflix, but there's more premium content. Just small like piece of trivia: every episode of Game of Thrones on average costs about $3 million to make, and that's just one show. So
and they're showing Game of Thrones right now.
Oh, Game of Thrones. But yeah, it's I think that this is sort of I think it's a good price. But it doesn't look like we're going to see an Apple TV hardware update today. Just an exclusive partnership. Shar is saying it doesn't look likely.
Yeah.
So ever we going to get out the Magic 8 balls is not likely.
Not likely.
They haven't refreshed the Apple TV for 3 years, she's saying. I find that.
And even that I think was just like a spec bump from like 720 to 1080.
That's crazy.
What are you gonna
More
do?
Game of Thrones pictures, thank you.
So much Game of Thrones.
Winter is coming.
And then
that's like a big selling point for this product, I'm sure.
I would imagine so. Yeah, that's like the one that it's
coming up next month.
One of the most torrented shows of all time. So
that's true.
I think that's sort of
a statistic I'm sure HBO loves bragging about.
They do. Well, they do actually, because they I believe, as far as I remember, they had said it's actually good for business because people are really interested in it, and if they if they want to pay for it, they will. So it's great, great word of mouth. It generates buzz, and that's sort of a thing. So they know that that's part of the game, and that they're never going to be able to stamp that out. So I think that they're approaching it in a very smart way. Like it's not like, oh, we hate those streamers, but they're just like, yeah, you're talking about the show. That's cool. Like thanks, thanks for talking about the show. Getting all the buzz out, all that stuff.
There's got to be somebody at HBO though that has done the calculations on like if only all those torrenters were paying customers.
HBO
Like,
Now.
oh my god, how many
I think that's
millions
where
of dollars?
HBO Now comes out, comes into play because a lot of people who, especially younger people who are moving out, they don't want to pay $80 to $130. They don't want to pay that for a bunch of cable channels they just aren't going to watch.
Yeah.
So they'd rather pay $35 for Sling TV and maybe HBO Now. Like that seems like a really reasonable option.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
I see a new button on the right. Have you seen this button? Computers button. You see that in this picture?
Is that settings?
No, I've
the
seen that.
settings
That's the home share.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Home
and
sharing. Okay, gotcha.
They're lowering the price also on Apple TV to $69. So they're dropping the price. Well, I mean, listen, you got to drop the price. It's 3 years old.
Yeah.
It's This is a 3-year-old
And
product.
they're competing against like
How
Chromecast.
dare you?
You know?
Yeah, $35 Chromecast. But yeah, no, how dare you? Like, I'm glad that they're dropping the price on that because seriously, it's a 3-year-old piece of hardware.
Yeah.
And it can be a little finicky. I have one, and it sometimes drives me crazy. So I good. I would have liked 49. Like that seemed more appropriate.
Yeah.
But,
Well, wait for the holidays.
so now they're moving on to iPhone. They're talking about they just sold their 700 millionth iPhone, which is
ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. That's an outrage a little bit. I'm outraged.
Just angry
Who are
about it.
buying these phones?
Well, they're now all over the place. I mean, the China market alone is probably like making up a good portion of that jump.
Yeah, that's very true. So they're talking about how they sold at a rate double the industry, like 49% versus like 29% or 26. I'm sorry. And of course, they bring out the slides that are sometimes skewed in their direction.
No, I don't know. I don't know how they could possibly. I'm pretty sure Apple would bring out any statistics, even if they were unflattering. They would show them off in this show.
If you guys have ever been to a carnival, Apple is sort of the scrambler of live events. They just spin. It's so good. From a business perspective, really impressive. But always good to be a discerning consumer and sort of know where these numbers are coming from.
I still contend a large part of that big jump in that graph has to be the fact that they were so late to getting to China compared to all the other manufacturers.
Right. I think that's probably
so, boom,
true.
we're here now, and then we grew.
Exactly.
Duh.
Like, wow, look at this big growth. Like, yeah, I definitely think that's part of it. So they're talking about Apple Pay, and I think that this might be a good segue into the watch if they do choose that. They've got a lot of their partners out on stage. They're talking about, starting with the 6 banks when they launched Apple Pay for iPhone. I think
I see a Radio Shack logo in there.
No.
Oh, rest in peace, Radio Shack. That's depressing.
I'm gonna miss Radio Shack.
Somebody in our YouTube stream just says, "Let us watch the event," but we can't be silent
Go ahead,
on
go
our
watch it,
stream.
guys.
So I'm telling you,
Let
it
us
is
watch.
totally cool if you
No,
want.
wait, you know what? Actually, don't let him watch the event.
I'm
no.
gonna talk. I'm gonna pretend that I'm Tim Cook and that I am.
I would think on the other end, what's more annoying is that we're probably ahead of the live stream because we're getting it right from our
That's
reporters
good.
who are in the seats.
Yes, we're
So
ahead, guys.
If you want to watch the event in all of its unadulterated goodness, please go to apple.com/live and you will see it if you're on Safari or you can use your Apple TV, iPhone, whatever. But if you want the real stuff straight from our bloggers live blogging from the ground, we're here and we're not going to.
We have the scoop. You can buy a Coca-Cola
You can
with
buy
your
Coke.
with your Apple Watch.
You can buy a Coke with your Apple Watch. You can use Apple Pay. You can just walk up and be like, boop. When are we getting one of those? Can we get one of those in the LA office? We'll take that. Actually, nobody eats in Los Angeles, so we just skip that. We could bring it up to San Francisco.
That's totally one of those moves where it's like Coca-Cola is like the only other brand as powerful as Apple, where they're like, yeah, Apple's going to show off the Coca-Cola brand on stage.
I know. What a great promotional.
But they're not going to bring. It's not going to work on Pepsi machines. You're not going to be getting your RC Cola with an Apple Watch.
Segue from Coca-Cola to the health app.
Yeah, and CarPlay as well. So they're saying now every major car brand is committed to CarPlay. So this is kind of a big deal, and I think going with what one of our callers was talking about, like they're going to want to integrate the phone and the watch into as many parts of your life as possible. And so now I think, with over 40 models of cars shipping by the end of the year, they've got like 44, 45, something like that. They're going to be this is going to be a big deal. Like
Yeah.
this automation of sort of your home and your car and tying it all together. At the Apple Watch, I have a feeling is going to be the bow.
It's true, but it's also going to be really sticky in a way that Apple loves, which is that any one of those components falls off of the treadmill of like hardware updates that you're not keeping up with.
Right.
Then it's all the more reason to come back to Apple, because your car is an Apple car and your home has been outfitted with like mostly Apple compatible devices for managing your home security and everything, like all those different ways you can get tangled
What
up in
happens
that
when the update
Apple,
falls off?
right. So
That's scary.
It's great for Apple because they are building this house of cards of products in your life.
Well, and they're also trusting third parties to keep it up. And I think that's a scary prospect, because we've all seen, the horrors of getting that cool thing and then having it just like fall by the wayside because either the company stops developing for it, they decide the software or the hardware is too old and they don't want to continue moving forward. Whatever it is, I think that's a fine line to walk, and I think that's going to be a really tough challenge for Apple.
But it's a challenge that it's not just Apple's, because right now, if this is aside from the year of unbundling cable, this is the year where Google, Samsung, and Apple are both competing directly against each other in the same plays for both the car and the home and your health management. Yeah. So
in health management, speaking of, they now have who's Jeff Williams, and he's up there talking about health kit, medical research. They're talking about sort of this kind of tying in of medical research and health and the health kit app. Here's an interesting question for you, Donald. So one of the things that a lot of people are curious about is how much information about myself, my biometrics, how much data is going to be shared with third parties. And I think that this is a very interesting, especially now that we're moving into health devices. Is this sort of a thing where people are going to be a little bit more wary about maybe wearing because this is their health data? This is something that they don't want necessarily shared with third parties. I mean, what do you think the direction is on that?
I feel like we're not at a place yet where any of the health data being collected by these devices is invasive enough or sensitive enough that people would necessarily need to worry about it, but we'll get there pretty soon, right? I mean, right now this is tracking your heart rate, maybe your blood pressure, stress levels, maybe you're have a connected scale or something like that. But it's not tracking my flatulence throughout the day or anything like that might otherwise be embarrassing. I hope that never happens for anyone's sake.
For a multitude of people.
The quantified self can only go so far
in
the Bell House.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, and so there's just some data you either don't want to share with people, or at the end of the day, it's one of those weird things where I just don't know, like the sort of sharing of data and kind of, there's a lot of medical laws in place that sort of prohibit, with HIPAA compliancy. So I'm just curious as how Apple sort of navigated all that
I think
stuff.
what part of what Apple is answering is the call for more ways for HMOs to be able to monitor patient health at home, without having to get them to the doctor's office for a visit.
Well, and
so in one way, a cost-cutting measure, but also practical for both sides if both sides are comfortable with the technology. But
That's
then
true.
I think the other concern is how much doctors will trust that the blood pressure reading that they're getting off of your Apple Watch or your Apple healthcare device, how accurate it is.
That's very true.
And it's going to be a while before the technology is resilient enough and trustworthy enough that doctors will be adopting it as gospel from what their patients are reporting, and may never get there compared to what they trust of bringing a patient in and measuring them, at
in
the
office.
hospital.
Yeah, no, that's very true. That is very true. So they're announcing Research Kit, and it's a piece of software that is developed specifically for medical research. I'm sure this will tie into the watch. It kind of helps, and now it seems so natural for them to do that.
I'm glad they didn't go with guinea pig kit with this particular one though, because it does seem like that's part of this. Here, let's cough into your iPhone so we can see exactly
Cough
what you're.
into your iPhone. It's terrible.
This graphic
Turn your
does
head and
say
cough into the iPhone.
it does say into the microphone for as long as you can, and it records your
I hate that. That's
So that's
ridiculous.
kinda
That is
weird.
ridiculous. I'm sorry. That seems like a huge gimmick. We're just like right into your phone, and then
Everyone will try it one time, and then that was neat.
they're doing a thing where you kind of tap your fingers on these like two spots on the phone at the same time, and so it's like test. I'm assuming your reaction time, like or your finger movement. So, but I think they're talking about like Parkinson's research right now.
I've even heard of like there being like advancements where like you can test your blood for like infectious diseases by like photographing it, with your phone, and then with that information just from like a photograph, there being like ways to oh man,
torture test. That'd be terrible. Oh, so funny. I love it. So they're moving. It seems like they're really moving into. Oh yeah, there you go. Eamon says even better pregnancy tests. There you go.
Oh,
Just turn your iPhone into a big old pregnancy test.
How do you do that?
I don't know. And if you're ever near Tracy Morgan, it like just has an alarm. Like he's gonna get you pregnant. Let's see what else we have going on. So they're talking about
curing asthma.
Asthma, yeah, studying triggers for asthma. Pathogens, looking for pathogens in the city. This is all very interesting.
That's cool.
And what else do we have? So here's another thing that they're talking about. Breast cancer, but progress in sort of symptoms that are post-treatment, things that are, maybe not as well understood as other parts of, this is all very interesting, or research kit stuff. But again,
it's like, I feel like they're diffusing any kind of like, snark that you could have about them, because they're curing breast cancer and asthma somehow, or they're involved in the process.
I know.
But then on the heels of this, they're going to try to sell us $1,000 gold watch. Like,
you can either spend that money on your health care.
Right. They've stacked this up really well. It's like, they're delivering babies in Africa somewhere, and I can't hate Apple for that. But
no. So so the data.
Here's my money.
They do get into the data, which I'm very curious about. So he says there's nothing more sensitive than your medical data. You decide what apps and research you're going to participate in. Yeah. You decide how your data is shared. Apple will not see that data.
And it's the same way they've talked about Apple Pay too. Like, well, look, we're not seeing your card numbers. We're not seeing what you're buying. We're not tracking your purchases. All of that is being handed over directly to the credit card companies. We're just this conduit to move the information along, but we don't peek at it. So they're taking the same tactic with health data, and it makes sense, but it's also a way, I think, for them appropriately to pass the buck on that too. Like,
absolutely, totally pass the buck.
Your health data breaches are now the responsibility of Kaiser, and in no way affected by us.
Anthem, and Aetna, which have it's gone so well. Anthem Blue Cross. So I like this one. This is a great comment. Anthony Hudson says, "So you can buy the Apple Watch using your health plan." I like it. Get a little prescription action going on. Be like, I have asthma. I wonder
if I could use my FSA account.
Yeah, can I use my flexible spending account? I like that. Okay, everybody, let's do this. Let's get this. Let's everybody get on board with this. Let's try to.
Here's a market Apple needs to go into is like the parole bracelets. Like the little anklets for
there you go,
parolees.
I like it.
I think about the prison population is just there, ready to leverage for selling more Apple Watches.
I like it. I like this a lot. I do worry about, like, I don't know. Sharing that data just seems weird, and I don't know. I'd be a little wary about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're sending that. It's like really personal, private health data.
Yeah,
but it's like, what if you get like targeted ads and stuff? I don't like that.
I don't know. I feel like as long as it's not like a proctology app or something like that, it's like I'm fine with my my heart rate going to my doctor through my watch.
I don't even want to think about how that app is working. No.
But otherwise, I don't think it's really sensitive information. But it's if what we're talking about is just like my weight gain or loss over time, and my doctor knowing I'm being lazy and not getting as much exercise as I could.
See, I don't want my doctor to know that. I don't want to come in and have him be like, well, listen.
Well, this is the genuine concern is that once this becomes normal, that this becomes the expectation. That healthcare premiums are contingent on having your health, you're monitored with an Apple Watch or some other similar device.
Or maybe you turn it the other way around and you do it as like a benefit. So it's like you get a
I'm sure it'll be
bonus
pitched as a
or
benefit,
something,
but
yeah,
it's
get some
basically going to be like
bonus
if
or
I
whatever,
want to
yeah, it's
get
a
the good
penalty.
healthcare cost. It's
That's
gonna
actually
be,
what they do. I'm forgive me if I'm saying anything weird, but CBS kind of does that. They give you a health tracker, for your health care, and then if you use it and you get so many points, then you get a discount and stuff. So they already kind of do that, track people's health and what we're up to.
I'm just still not sold.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on any of this. And also, is this kind of a weird thing to like bring trot out like as a like this is a medical event? Like this feels like it's just, hey guys, like here's this medical event
I'm telling
that we're
you,
doing.
it's perfectly thought and stacked to be like this combination of like you can't feel anything but like proud of what Apple is trying to do.
Yeah, that's true.
At the beginning,
they're building the goodwill.
And exactly, and then if they just came out, with their gold watches and their pimp suit, it would not be. You would feel
That's
like,
true,
who the hell are these guys?
Kanye West and like and I like this. And Flavor Flav with a huge
giant Apple Watch. Yep,
that's what we need. That is what we need.
I'm sure that got tossed around. It's like an idea. They're like, you know what? How about we come in through a side door here and really do the push on how we're improving people's lives with Health Kit. It's gonna be great.
I like some of these people are joking around in the YouTube comments saying like endoscopy attachments, like they're like different crazy attachments for your phone, like. Oh, here's a thermometer attachment.
You
like,
laugh now,
phone
but
in your
I'm
ear.
sure it's not going to be like consumer stuff. But there's probably going to be ways for people to do that kind of testing in the field.
How weird would that be? Like you go to your doctor and like, okay, we got to take your temperature, and they just like get out an iPhone.
Hold on, I'm updating the app.
Give me a second. I gotta update. 1 second. Okay, now we gotta take your temperature. So I'm gonna stick this phone in its attachment at the bottom,
Right.
lightning attachment right in your ear, and you're just like sitting there going, "Wow, this is the weirdest thing ever." So we've been going for this event has been happening for a half hour, and we have seen nothing on the Apple Watch at this point.
And to be fair, with all of our health talk and cynicism, we are also reporting with donuts right next to us. So we might not be the target audience for this.
If I was wearing an Apple Watch, I'd be reported to my doctor right now because too much coffee, not enough sleep,
glucose sensor.
Yeah, exactly. To be like Esqueda, you're getting soft. You gotta get up and walk around a little bit. Well, that was one thing that Tim Cook was saying is like the Apple Watch is gonna tell you to get up.
Right.
It's gonna say, hey, we're lazy. Get up.
Sitting
too much.
I'm podcasting about your event right now. I can't do that.
Yeah, and also like how many people are just gonna swipe that away and be like, shut up. I agree with you, Beach. It's gonna be like, oh, shut up, Apple Watch. Like, I don't want to hear this. Just throw it across the room. Take it off.
It makes you a better person, Ashley. Don't you want to be a better person? Join us, Ashley.
Oh, and this is a surprise. Something from Apple that is open source. Open source. The medical research kit is going to be open source. That's a big deal for Apple.
Yeah,
letting anything be open source.
Still own it.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
open source is it's kind of unheard of.
I think.
Isn't
Well,
it?
I think that what it shows who they're competing against.
Is that open
it
source
shows
with
that
the medical community?
we're up against Google.
Is that open source with like the medical community? Basically?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know.
But they've got, let's see, 5 different. Looks like they have like 5 different research kit, like specific apps that are up there.
All right, Ackerman says it's Mac time, baby.
It's Mac time.
He didn't say baby. I added that bit.
I'll add it. That sounds like something Ackerman would say. Okay, now I'm excited. It's Mac time.
It's Mac time, baby.
I like it.
All right. We're looking at
Tim
Macs,
Cook's back
MacBooks.
out on stage.
I see a slide of a Mac. It's got a MacBook Air there with a pretty picture on it. One can be optimistic.
Oh, let's be optimists.
The Mac line grew 20% in notebooks, while last year the industry shrank 2%.
They love that slide.
Oh.
How much they grew, how little everyone else did. Yeah, I agree with that. Why can't Siri turn on my flashlight? What's up with that?
Yeah.
That's a really good point. See,
Yeah.
Murphy Life, he's making all kinds of good points in the live stream. Yeah, see, a bunch of people are, oh, there you go. Anthony Hudson says open source equals plausible deniability. There he is, exactly
Someone else
right.
wrote the code, baby.
Yep, someone else wrote that. Not my fault it got hacked. Nope, that's true.
No, I think that's really just a play to make sure there's this little to compare against as possible between what Google's kit and theirs.
I'm sure it'll be like Apple's version of open source, which is kind of
All right.
enough.
Cook says we challenged ourselves to reinvent the laptop, and we did. Looks like a bubble floating by. Thin keyboard. Is it gold?
Let's see. Oh, I don't know. Is it? No, I doubt
Incredibly thin, says Shara.
it. Thin. New MacBook time. They're reinventing. They're reinventing.
The wafer
People,
thin.
apparently people are behind them saying, oh my God. Oh my God.
So it's an Air. It's an even thinner Air.
Even thinner. It's just gonna float away. It doesn't exist. Again, I like to think of Apple introducing like the iPad Air, and it's like nothing.
It really
It's
it
Air.
looks like the aluminum like keyboard like that you'd get for your as an extension. It just looks like keys that have been placed onto a sheet of aluminum. Like there's nothing in there.
Somebody in our live stream says, Christopher says, it's a Star Trek tricorder. I like it for the research kit stuff. That's pretty cool. Oh, so much thinness.
The new MacBook is just called MacBook.
There you
I
have
think
it.
they're doing away with the airness of it. This is and then when they first came out with the Air, they did say that this was like the future of what their MacBooks were going to be, and it looks like that day has come. So that also means probably say goodbye to the ability to have an optical drive,
Yeah.
or any kind of
Anything.
built-in Ethernet connection,
Ever.
or
Yeah, no, just adapters.
Yep.
That's Apple's second favorite phrase besides like magical
Right.
is adapters. So you're gonna need lots
have
of
an
adapters
adapter for that.
$29.99
So you can finally $29.99.
for adapters. That's
Yeah,
that's usually
everything
the price.
$29.99. $30. $30.
Headphones are $29.
I like this. So thin, that'll be your wallet after buying a Mac. Thank you,
Oh,
Ambiguous
there you
Zombie. That
go.
is very true. I like this gold MacBook though. You can now match all of your products. That's what they're. He's has it out on stage. It weighs just 2 pounds.
13.1 millimeters at its thickest point.
This is ridiculous. I mean,
Scott
I'm
Stein says
excited.
the trackpad looks super large, which is a good thing.
It does
maybe.
look extremely thin. I mean, just looking at Tim Cook holding it, it looks so thin.
24% thinner than the 11-inch MacBook Air.
That's a lot thinner.
That's not, it's not an insignificant
A
amount.
lot. And that did look, a lot of people are asking, is that gold? Yeah, it looks like they're going to offer
It's
it
gold.
in a gold color.
The
So they're
bronze
showing
and-
it on the slides
It's like
there.
the C-3PO laptop.
Yeah.
So that's one of the, it's like the gold iPhone. It's the same.
Dan-
Yes, a lot of people say it's blue. It's black and blue. It's not white and gold.
Dan Ackerman says the dude sitting behind him is freaking out.
Oh, people are freaking out. Where's Air Force One? He hasn't come out yet.
He'll be out for the game demo.
So now I'm curious to see if it comes in gold, if it's going to come in space gray, aluminum, and gold.
Not just any keyboard, an all-new keyboard.
Oh, boy.
A move to a thinner design.
All new. So many.
The team studied how a current keyboard works. Love to have been on that team.
How does it work?
Somebody said it's begging to get stolen. The lighter it is, the easier it is to lift. That's true. It is a lot thinner than the Air, and even the Air is just so thin. So that's sort of an Apple hallmark, though, is sort of these impressive feats of engineering where they're able to make these products super duper thin.
What is new about this keyboard, though? I'm
It
trying to
looks like
spot
there
it.
are absolutely no ports on this thing on one side. I saw
They got-
just a headphone jack.
They got
on
the
one
key
side.
profile down to like nothing by using a different kind of mechanism under the key to signal the key press.
Oh, okay.
So it's a much thinner little mechanism they call the butterfly mechanism instead of a scissor mechanism, and so it takes up less space, and then the key profile itself is thinner. So it's just totally thin
Oh, I see.
keys.
Here we go.
Is it sad that I'm more excited about this than the watch right now?
No, it's a practical purchase. I like laptops. I'd like to get a new one soon. This is something I could actually see buying.
Oh, I see what they mean by this. Okay, this keyboard.
That said,
business.
if they're killing off other like MacBook Pros, I don't think they haven't mentioned that, but the move to just the MacBook only name, they still have a MacBook Pro around, right? We'll see.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I'm sure, because if it's just MacBook, well, I don't know. Maybe they'll just go to one. Who knows? I want to see what ports are here. Let's do this.
They don't fit ports onto this. Are you kidding?
No ports ever.
Yeah.
So it's everything wireless?
One port
Probably
that you have to break out to a bunch of things.
Well, yeah, you have to get a splitter, of course. Get some kind of crazy
Could be all like
hub.
maybe little lightning ports.
Yeah, it's gonna be like one.
Oh, what if it's
Thunderbolt.
lightning ports? That'd be interesting. A lot of people in the live stream, the YouTube live stream, are saying like, "Does it bend?" We're bringing the feature of the all new iPhone to the Mac. It bends.
Curved.
It's curved. Yeah, it's curved.
Yeah, those keys are when that shot of the key profiles, they look
It's
like they're just like
crazy.
little strips of leather. They don't even look like keys.
It's really. I mean, now I can't have long fingernails. They're talking about the new trackpad, which looks huge, by the way.
So it is a Retina display. 2304 by 1440, 3.3 million pixels, 12 inches.
This I would like this instead of a watch. Let's see. Force touch trackpad. That's what they're calling it.
Use the force.
So he's saying no more top hinge to physically click down in the trackpad. Which is
Consumes 30% less energy.
it has the Taptic engine. Same type of technology that we're seeing inside the Taptic inside the Apple Watch.
Ah.
They're talking about pixels and 30% less energy. The screen consumes 30% less energy. It has the same brightness.
Adjustable click feel. What does that mean? So you can kind of adjust where you want to right and left click or something?
I think so. They're talking about the way that the trackpad's set up now. It's pressure sensitive. So they're saying that basically Taptic with Force Touch, you have sensors inside there, and it can feel like there's 4 different sensors in there, and they can feel like light clicks to deeper presses. There's new gestures for deeper press. They call it a force click, which Force Touch.
It'd be great though if it was like a sleep number bed where you could dial in your click sensitivity.
Yeah, that would be delightful.
Each different user has their own.
Do you feel like more people are going to be excited about this?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like this might actually overshadow the watch, but I feel terrible about saying that.
They must have known that this would be a big
deal.
Yeah. I think this is one of those things where it's they got to give people something else to talk about who might not otherwise be interested in the watch.
That's true. So they're talking about Force Touch and how, like, let's say you're watching QuickTime. You want to fast forward it, you tap on the screen, and you barely touch it, fast forward slowly.
Mm-hmm.
The harder you press, it fast forwards faster. So this is sort of like kind of how Force Touch would work on the new MacBook Air or MacBook. The new MacBook.
Great. So
just MacBook.
Just MacBook.
I can't wait to drop this because I know I will just accidentally slide it right off a table. I always worry about the lightest. One of the reasons I got an iPhone 6 Plus is because it's a little bit heavier, so that it reminds me that it's either on a table or in my pocket or whatever. It makes it harder for me to just sweep it off of a table.
I'm worried more about the keyboard and the trackpad because I'm pretty slammy when it comes down to the typing and clicking.
You could wear out your Taptic.
Yeah.
That would be all bad.
Oh, the first fanless MacBook. No fan. So probably using what, Broadwell?
No fan.
Because Broadwell was at CES,
Yeah.
they talked about no fans.
Yeah.
So I guess
it just takes the heat away from the
Still, there's always a risk when you do that.
Puts it throughout the body or something.
I guess so.
Or maybe they can sell like
they're gonna have to put
cooling
huge
pad
heat
as an
sinks in
accessory.
here. They're gonna have to put huge heat sinks in.
No, they could. Where?
Well, they said that they made the 67% smaller logic board.
You're gonna have to buy like an Apple desk with a built-in heatsink.
You're just gonna have to put it on ice, guys. Sorry, everybody. Sorry.
That'll be the next little appending of the name will be the MacBook Ice. You know, and
Dan Ackerman says he's nervous about the fanless computer.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it could be like your iPad. If your iPad ever gets hot, or your iPhone, right? It just kind of says, "Oh, we're too hot. We're taking a timeout."
Right, exactly.
No, but I'm in the middle of editing this video.
So it says it's powered by Intel Core M 5th gen. Speeds up to 1.3 gigahertz turbo on top of that.
Corm.
So they filled the rest of the space, like with the logic board shrunk by 67%. They filled the rest of the space with batteries. Battery.
I guess that's great, except the battery is the one thing that takes all the heat and expands the most when it gets hot, right?
Yeah, I mean, so Dan Ackerman's saying, we tested the Lenovo Yoga 3 Pro, which had Core M on it, Intel Core M, and it came out last fall, and it was disappointing. Performance and battery life was disappointing. So I don't know. I mean, this could be a disappointment. We'll see.
That's what Dan says. To solve the Core M known issue, MacBook is pretty much all battery inside. So the battery life is just being bolstered up by pure battery.
Somebody said if it overheats, you're using it wrong.
Take it to a genius.
There's going to be stories of these catching on fire, probably.
Yeah, but that's every good Apple product has to catch on fire.
So somebody was saying when I had said, is this going to be like more exciting than the watch? They said, not a chance. This thing will sell 1/10 what they sell in watches. This is Alec. He says maybe 1/100th might even be more realistic MacBooks, iPhones. Which,
yeah, I mean, when you look at the number of smartphones that Apple sells.
And also the cost. I mean, it's obviously a lot more expensive.
That said, the world still needs their laptops.
Yeah. I edit video, so I don't know if this is going to be realistic for me. I'd like to see how it performs in tests where you're actually pushing the capability of...
I think the larger concern for editing video is how you're going to connect it to drives or anything.
Yes.
Yeah, all I see on the one side there is a charging port.
Yeah, I don't see anything. So maybe it's all...
Something on the back? It could be on the back. Some Thunderbolts, maybe?
They're saying all-day battery life on this MacBook. That's because they crammed the batteries in.
Yeah, all day, but I mean, they're also saying it was like 9 hours of...
So they're talking about how to connect with it. So this is what our question. Phil Schiller says the only intelligent vision is one without wires, which is such a patently Apple thing to say. This is a post-wire world.
For sure.
We got off that post-PC thing because we still want to make them. Still want to make computers. But now we're going without wires. 802.11ac, Bluetooth built in.
USB-C.
Yeah, USB Type-C, which is exciting. So yeah, extreme portability is their goal.
Now, wasn't USB-C the one we saw from CES that was like the switchable?
Both sides, switchable,
like lightning-like connection style.
Yeah, where you could plug it in on either side, which
upside down.
Delightful. So there's a single port USB-C on the system, and then that's it. And then through that, you would support everything else.
No,
adapters.
Read that again. The single port on the system.
USB-C.
USB-C will support it
through dongles, I guess. Everything from power, Ethernet. So if you want power, you're going to have to use that USB-C as well. It's one port. There's not even a power. There's no MagSafe.
What about a headphone jack?
It's on the other side.
Okay.
It's on the other side. There's one headphone jack, and that's it.
I could see them doing like Bluetooth, like audio if they wanted to really get that out of the way too.
Oh, they are coming in silver, space gray, and gold. So I want a space gray one. Or I'm going to throw this in the garbage.
Wow. I really thought they were blowing hot air when they were saying like the radical revisioning of the MacBook.
That is a radical revisioning.
They did really.
Let's see how much it costs. What are you guessing on cost? Because the MacBook Air is what, $11.99?
That is expensive.
And $9.99 base?
Well, I'm going to spoil it for you. No, wait. No, Dan's saying his guess is $1,200 to start. Or
I was going to guess the same, $12.99, but I don't know. Let's see what they say.
That's just Dan's guess still, though.
Right. Environmentally friendly.
It's the new hotness, though. They could probably charge $2,000 for this.
I don't think so. No, because you're buying a Mac Pro.
But they're swallowing up the Mac. If they're swallowing up all Macs and still leaving maybe the Mac Pros around.
I don't think so.
Maybe doing a base that starts. Well, I don't know.
I don't think so because this, like a 15-inch or 13-inch MacBook Pro, like with some upgrades, is like. It's like $2,000, a Retina with Retina.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that $999 MacBook Air price is
It's not going to be that.
It's really helped them out though through the years to have something at that price.
But I think they're going to leave the regular MacBook Air, the 11-inch at $999,
Yeah.
and maybe they'll phase out the 13, or actually no, they'll probably keep the 13 as well. But I think this 12-inch one.
Oh, we got the Johnny Ive video coming up.
Of course we do.
Good, because there's a lot of design in here that he can talk about.
So much design. They're talking about the environment. I love how recyclable. So it's a recyclable, because obviously you're going to throw this in your recycle bin. Let's dump it in there. Just recycle this. I love that.
I'm sure that at some point here, Johnny Ive is talking about his disgust with ports.
Of course, yeah.
For years now, we've wanted to get these entry points into our computer out of the way.
No, I just find wires dreadful. I just love how he says dreadful.
Dreadful.
It's like dreadful.
But I find dongles beautiful.
Yes. Apple makes the finest dongles money can buy.
I love this.
It's a dongle for everything.
So Dan Ackerman is saying, while this video is playing, Dell has a very nice XPS 13, same size as a current 11-inch Air, and it starts at $899. Has Core i5, same.
Possibly a touchscreen too.
No, they would have
possibly. My laptop's a Core i5.
Start touching that
Acer.
screen, it's going to break. Imagine like the hinge is going to get
Yeah, you're
stressed.
actually you shouldn't actually touch the computer. So it's going to be instructions on the keyboard. It's like try not to touch it.
Touch it at all.
Just think at it, and it'll be magical. It'll just be so magical. Wow.
I'm still kind of shocked Apple hasn't gotten to the laptop touchscreen scene yet.
I don't think so, because again, I think they want you to buy both. They want you to buy an iPad and a laptop. They want you to have everything. They want you, because that's where the money is.
I love my touchscreen laptop.
I know so many people who have touchscreen laptops, like Surface Pro, and like I know lots of people.
I have an Acer. Never going back. Ever.
And I know people who love it. And I think with Windows 10, it's going to be really
oh my God,
great. Like I think people are really excited about it. So I don't know. Like okay, so
yeah.
I use my MacBook with a monitor, my computer desk.
Same
so
here. Yep.
that's the port. No power. Can't be charging it all day long. Have to wait for it to die. And then what do? I got to switch to small screen while it charges and then go back.
I don't know. This is probably what Apple will say. Well, if you get a lightning monitor or some kind of Apple monitor that supports it, then maybe you could keep your MacBook charged through that same connection and use it as a
That's
display
possible.
port.
Yeah. If you buy their 5K monitor
Right.
for $20,000,
then you get backwards
backwards
charging.
Power.
Yeah,
it's like a phantom power. They just charge via phantom power. It's great.
I think they'll have a dongle that has multiple things on it. Like a power, Thunderbolt, all the things you need on one thing. It'll fan out.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they'll need to with USB-C if supply power over the same cable.
See, I agree. So many people in all the comments are just saying like one connector seems like a bad idea. Two, I think, is appropriate.
It's bold.
It's extremely bold.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe this is designed for people who don't need a lot of external connectors.
I'm actually maybe as surprised I am about the one connection thing, I'm surprised that Apple went with a non-proprietary standard.
A universal standard?
That they didn't say
not Thunderbolt or Lightning?
Yeah, exactly. It's some other meteorological phenomena port where we've just made up, in addition to Lightning and Thunderbolt and everything else. Yeah.
Water spout.
Your hurricane port would be perfect.
Devil, hurricane port is what it is. Tornado port.
So I think it's a step in the right direction for Apple, even though it is a weird.
But I think the reason why they went with Type-C, and I think we haven't really seen the explosion of Thunderbolt connected accessories that I think Apple was kind of hoping for.
True.
And I think with this, it opens the doors to a world of products that normally probably wouldn't be the case.
Yeah, but then it also it's odd though that they would do that on this MacBook, but not use the same connection standard for. I mean, maybe they will. Maybe they'll change their mind.
I was gonna say I would imagine maybe iMac later this year to switch over to USB Type-C.
Or I was even thinking mobile devices. I mean, their mobile devices that stand out the most. Their iPhones and iPads for not using a standard charging.
Type-C.
They gave us the price, guys.
All right, what's the price?
Got the price. much?
1.1 gigahertz Core M, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabyte SSD for $12.99.
Dan
There you
Ackerman
go. Dan
nailed
Ackerman
it.
crushing
Nailed
the
it.
price.
Dang.
Guessed it right up front. And then $15.99 faster processor, twice the internal SSD storage.
April
512.
10th.
Ships April 10th. That's going to be a hot seller, I think.
1 month almost.
Joins the MacBook Air and MacBook Pro.
Yeah, I would rather brandish my Apple smugness with that device than a watch.
I think so. Yeah, they're also getting updated though. So the MacBook Air and Pro are sticking around and getting updates.
Okay.
So faster Intel processors, Generation 2 Thunderbolt. So sticking with Thunderbolt, shipping today, MacBook Air, the updated MacBook Air. So they're gonna do some keep the Air around, which I think we thought was a thing.
Who'd thought that you'd go to the MacBook Air for extra ports now? Like,
I know, right?
Like,
Oh, I gotta get that
think of
Air. It's
all-
got more
think of all the
ports.
ports that are available. Huh. All right. Well,
Now, is it too soon to also just say I want a 14-inch one of these?
yes.
Is that
Come on.
Too soon? All
Let 'em
right,
have
fair
it
enough.
for a minute.
April 11th. That's when I want. I'm going to say I need a. So a lot of people in the thing are saying that they would go for the $15.99 version. This is of interest to people. People are
God.
very excited. Lots and lots of.
I still
MacBooks
can't
today.
believe. I just imagine picking that up. Is going to be like the weight involved in making that thing.
It's going to just fly under the air.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it
know
actually
that?
just floats to your house.
Right.
You order it, and Apple just floats it right to your
It
house.
can be delivered by drone, probably.
Don't carry it outside on a windy day. It might just
I like how
blow
someone's
away.
like, it only costs a mortgage payment, and I'm like, you clearly don't live in
Then look
California,
at
my friend.
Look at the images
like
on the computer.
mortgage
There's like a
payment.
dandelion that'll blow away a bubble.
Oh yeah,
Right.
see, it's all lightweight.
Also light,
All
fluffy.
light, you know. I don't know, man. It's great. That's delightful, but
Are they handing off the clicker that changes the images? Is that what's happening?
I think so.
It's like a
yeah,
baton pass, like a tech baton
it
pass.
is. It's like a relay. It's like a relay race. You're next. You do the next leg.
Should be doing all from Apple Watch.
I like it.
All right.
So everybody in the live stream, okay, so we have Monish is talking about, I love the way Apple lemmings are trying to justify the obvious issues. Maybe I don't need the card reader, the USB input, HDMI on Guide Cloud, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So I kind of, like in a little way, like I agree with you. I don't think people are lemmings, but I think there are people who actually just don't need a lot of ports. I mean, I know people who just use their laptops for internet and, they use it for word processing, like basic stuff.
Right, but for those people, there's like a Chromebook that costs
so
a
much
fraction
cheaper.
of the price
But people
and actually
want
still has the ports.
status symbol, like people consider Apple to be a status symbol. It's there
Then-
will be.
Then
so
we're
many
culturally bankrupt, Ashley. Then we've
No,
really got our
listen,
priorities
you're not getting
backwards.
an argument for me on that. It's culturally bankrupt. That's 100% true. But I think that a lot of, and again, I think the Apple Watch Edition is which they're talking about right now. It's gonna be the reason you buy it is it's like a status symbol, and it's just so weird that people have sort of appropriated Apple as like the company that means status, and like not necessarily to everybody individually, but there's this sort of perception amongst a large group of people.
Well,
that,
yeah, and Apple's got to be feeling like hot S too. That they're
Oh, I'm
like
sure.
they're the only like laptop manufacturer who's got like double-digit growth, while everyone else. So they feel
Compared
like
to everybody
we can
else.
do whatever we want, and people are. Let's see if we can like derail this thing.
so they're talking about the Apple Watch now. We're in it.
All right.
Okay.
So let's get into the meat of this. A lot of people are saying that the price is reasonable, by the way, for that MacBook, but they want to wait for performance tests. So they're very curious about how it performs.
Yeah.
Showing off all the watch faces. Again, locked. No open developer API in the watch faces yet. So I'm assuming it's going to be here's our
Why would you want a different watch face, Ashley? They've thought of all the best ones.
of all of the best.
You can
ones.
have many options of Johnny Ive designed watch faces. The best ones money can buy.
Right.
It's getting to me, Ashley.
It's true. You could have Mickey
I
Mouse.
do like this moon phase. little
Yeah, the
graphic
lunar watch
here.
is kind
That
of
is
cool. I like that. That's nice. So you can add different things to the face that you pick, as like data, world clocks, stopwatches, next meetings, things like that. You can customize your watch face to an extent. So maybe that's also why they haven't really kind of unveiled any APIs for developers
Ooh.
yet.
Is that a sponsorship here right now?
The Disney one?
Yeah.
Good. Again,
well, Lori
Apple-
Jobs is the largest Disney shareholder, so I don't think that might not be a coincidence there. That might not be a
Apple
coincidence.
does not often align themselves with brands, but when they do,
Exactly.
they go big. They go
They go big.
Coca-Cola and Disney.
It's true.
Nike.
I like these like blooming flower thing. It's like really delightful. So they have these sort of like I think this is very interesting. Glances. So they're calling this a new feature where you can check things really quickly. So you can control your music, check your heart rate. Like they're just quick looks at different things that you might want to look at. And so they're kind of like the mini app like the screen caps or snapshots from Pebble Time. So I think Pebble Time showed that off. And they're talking about Taptic Engine. Force touch.
You get a buzz. I can't wait for like wrist ghost buzzing.
Oh yeah,
my
phantom
God,
buzzing.
yeah.
I already have friends who have that. Like I have a couple of friends who've got smartwatches who are just like Pebble. Just they're like every now and again I'll look down at my wrist and I'm not even wearing it.
Yeah.
And I thought it buzzed.
I think that's probably one of the biggest things that stopped the Tong Thong production was
the phantom buzzing.
buzzing.
Totally. Yeah, that's they're trying to figure out how to solve that, but they haven't.
Sounds
Scientists hasn't.
I feel like
it
that would be a selling point on the top.
That could be.
By the way, can we
It's
talk about
a
these
marketing problem, really.
these weird Dick Tracy references? Like everybody I love Dick Tracy.
Because that's what we want. We want to talk through our watch to our friends and be like,
really
"Blah, blah, blah, blah."
don't.
It is
Yes,
still
we
like
do.
it's an older white dude fantasy. You know, it's
Well, and
it's not
also-
even.
That's what
I
I
remember
want.
it's like
Why
it
is
was
it a
older than the
fantasy?
Star Trek fantasies.
I
Like
just no, because you don't even. Nobody likes it. Nope. I'm gonna freak out right now.
Yeah.
Nobody likes it when you have a loud conversation. If you put someone on speakerphone in an environment where people are gonna get annoyed at you, which is pretty much everywhere in public.
yeah,
Just don't. If you get an Apple Watch, listen, everybody. I'm talking to you. You get an Apple Watch and you're on speakerphone with that thing, I might actually start a fight with you.
I will take the counterpoint to this. I say if you get an Apple Watch and you don't spend that money by making obnoxious phone calls to your wrist, you've misspent your millions.
No.
There's
a
no
waste
other
of
reason
money.
why you would buy that than to be able to go out in public and carry on a conversation with your wrist.
I
If you're
am
not
serious.
doing that, you don't even understand the product.
No.
Sorry, Ashley.
So please don't.
I agree with
Please
Donald.
don't. Don't do it.
It's gonna happen.
I hate it. Makes me sad.
I just did that to make Ashley sad. Sorry.
I can just see these like waiting in line at the DMV and just like 50% of these people like talking to their phones.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't want to deal with that.
So they're still going over everything they're recapping everything they talked about in September. basically.
Recaps, your contacts.
Yeah,
this
so
is
that-
very interesting, like
remember-
navigation stuff where
remember
this is how you navigate all this junk. A couple people are asking, where's Brian Tong?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're just joining us. Brian Tong's on vacation because Apple usually does events on Tuesday. He thought he'd be safe. Thought he'd be safe coming home. There he is.
There he is. I mean, that's a photo.
He's having a great
From
time.
earlier
He
today.
sent us his picture from this morning in
Yeah.
Hawaii. It's a beautiful day. He's having a really, really nice vacation.
He's kind of an uneven tan, though.
A little bit uneven.
Yeah,
Well, we still
yeah.
got to keep his sunscreen on his face. Got to keep it beautiful.
Sure, yeah.
He's got to keep it
Don't
beautiful.
want to get those wrinkles like Donald. Ugh.
So they're talking about. It says, I love that Tim Cook mentions this as like Apple Watch is your friend.
Right.
He's like Apple Watch can also send you reminders as a friend,
Ah.
like a friend would to
Like
be more
Siri does.
active.
Oh
And it'll
my
send
God,
a
to be more
report to you.
active.
Yeah.
I hate you.
There's a workout app now. So instead of just health, now we got health and workout. You can I don't know, do things like running and cycling. You
Yeah.
just, I guess would you just tell your phone like that's what you're doing and then
Hey, phone. I'm cycling now. Please stop bugging me.
We're just gonna ask you.
Stop
are
guilt. You've guilted me into running. Now
Are you
shut up.
running right now? Yes, I am.
yes. And then you're just moving your
you're just-
arm as if you're jogging.
Yeah, you're going like this with your arm.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm running.
I'm running. Oh, it's tough. I'm out of breath. Oh, it's terrible. Love this.
Tim Cook gave the Apple Watch to someone.
Ooh.
Who did they give it to? Oprah. She's going to give one to everybody in the world. She bought one. It's just like you, too. You're just going to wake up one day and you're going to have a watch.
Exactly.
It's just going to be installed on your wrist.
Good morning.
You got to watch. You got to watch. Everybody got to watch. So apparently it's one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in the world
The watch?
and one of the world's top fashion models.
Ooh.
So they're bringing out a top fashion model.
Oh.
100 most influential fashion models?
If this is where Brian Tong has been, if he's going to surprise us, this is.
This is BT would probably guess this person. 100 most influential people.
Cisco.
Christy Turlington Burns.
What?
All right.
Okay.
Christy Turlington. That's old school.
Yeah, it's more old white guy stuff.
Yeah, more old white guy stuff.
I'm gonna make my Dick Tracy call to Christy Turlington.
I know they're gonna get a Christy Turlington
Everything I've
watch
wanted has
face.
come true.
A watch face.
Oh, great.
It's gonna be the best. I like that GGI Win on Twitter says they gave it to Bill Gates. Yes, he was an 80s supermodel. For sure.
For sure.
So Christy Turlington is in way better shape than all of us. Just FYI, because apparently she finished 3 marathons in her spare time.
She's like a yoga master, too, I think.
She's like a hardcore fitness person, I think. She's like really into fitness. And apparently there's a video now of Christy running, which I'm sure people are really enjoying. Old white men are really enjoying that.
In Africa, by the way. Let's tie in
She's
another
taking
little
a
cultural
jog.
factor into this. She's
Make it global.
delivering babies in Africa with her Apple Health Kit features.
Yeah, of course.
She's
And
beating
it-
Kenyans in long,
Yeah.
long,
She's
long
treating
running events.
She's treating diseases and she's doing all kinds of
She's
stuff. with
basically this generation's Mother Teresa. Let's watch her do
Apple. Truly. Except totally not.
this.
Except totally not. Oh man. I appreciate this, but does it I guess it's a good choice. I don't know. I still
Talking
feel like
about
listen, I still feel like I
maternal
don't
health,
need it.
health and fitness.
I still don't need it. Come on, Apple. I'm looking at all of the I think this is an interesting point. Adam in our live stream says the sad thing is no matter how many variations they try to build in, you're still going to end up with millions of people wearing the exact same watch. How boring.
Yeah.
And I think that is slightly true, but slightly not true, just because we have 6 different bands, 6 different faces, 3 with different sizes. But
Yeah. I don't know. It did seem though, was it the Daring Fireball Gruber like take on it was that a lot of there's not going to be as much mix and match of the bands and the watches
as people thought. Yeah.
that you're going to be buying.
Some of them you can't even get, like the steel band, the Milanese loop or whatever.
Right.
You can't get that with the sport. You have to get the steel. So, and I'm sure if you want to get an 18 karat gold one, 18 karat gold band, you're not going to be able to pair that with the 349 Sport. I don't think they're going to let you do that.
I wonder which one Miss Marathon got here.
I agree with this. Show me something that makes me want this watch. I am with you, everybody.
The running's not doing it for you?
You know, I'm not a big
I totally
runner.
understand why Chrissy Turlington would want to buy one with her millions of
With
dollars.
her bunches and
But,
bunches of money.
Now let's open up the other target markets that are possible for this one.
Yeah, when is Tim Cook going to come out and be like, we have somebody who was on like MySpace's
Right.
top 1 million most influential lists, and it's just some rando person. That's what I want to see. I want to see Tim Cook bring out just some random person with a part-time job.
Right.
Like maybe, works for like under $20 an hour. Like just a person getting by. Like,
Sure.
and is like, listen, this watch, maybe it was okay. Like, where's that guy? Let's find that guy.
I think if you're working minimum wage and you've got this, that it's working against you. They'll be like, we're paying him way too much money. He's spending it on a $500 watch.
We got to get rid of him.
Yeah.
So this is apparently the Turlington first take. So she's on stage
good.
right now. She's out there
Hugging Tim.
hugging Tim Cook.
Yeah, I'm
Give it
sure
a
this is going to be ultra critical.
She has a mountain that she jogged in the
Thanks
background.
for the free watch. Here's my complaints.
So she says she relied on the watch pretty heavily. A lot of elevation, altitude. She kept checking how much further she had to go. So she'd check her watch. Which, you could make an argument if you're a health fanatic. You'd be able to use this quite well.
I still feel, though, that they've made no mention of how, water resistant this thing really is.
Well, Tim Cook, didn't he say he was showering with his?
Okay.
I heard showering. Probably not swimming.
That sounds gross.
But first of all, why would you shower with a watch on? It's weird. Unless it
No,
was
but
like one
I'm
of
just
those
saying,
cool
if you're
G-Shock ones.
sweating, you're going aggro and you're running in the rain with your $350 to
Right.
$20,000
Your
watch.
Iron Man
Right.
competition.
That doesn't seem like as much as it's capable of measuring all of your health statistics in your workout. I don't know if that's the kind of the price and type of device I would want. Like the idea of like a plastic Fitbit that if it broke, I could just buy another one without it being a big deal seems like a much better,
Yeah. No, I
use
agree.
case
And
for
and
someone.
also, you have so many other options for so many cheaper prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's like, it seems like, well, if it breaks, if I'm doing an Ironman or a triathlon or a decathlon or whatever, if it breaks, like, wouldn't you want something a little bit less expensive? Because you're really going to be putting it through the ringer. But she's saying it changed her life. Changed her life. I don't know. I don't think it did. But
Yeah, I don't know. I part of me is just kind of like feeling guilty as like an American that Chrissy Turlington is running around like marathons in Africa with like
Marathoning.
$1,000 gold watch. It just feels a little bit off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
so many
That could just
people
be
in the
me.
live stream are like, how many people actually work out? Like, what? Like, regularly. Like, and I think
No,
that's
and
a
we know
pretty-
this about CNET's audience too. If we ever want to make a video on like smart apps for improving your workout, it does this much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, then
yeah.
no one cares.
It's like, listen, I've got some fitness apps installed on my
Yeah.
phone, and that's fine. I never use them. Like,
I
I just do it to feel good about myself. Like,
Yeah.
I've got some fitness apps installed, and
Yep.
then they never get used.
No.
Terrible.
Have either of you ever posted a run that you did on Facebook or something like that?
Nope. It's
Okay,
embarrassing.
good.
I don't want to share those numbers with anybody.
That
Congratulations.
requires running, first of all.
Congratulations.
You lost me at the run bit.
You
Yeah.
shambled yourself to a 25-minute mile. Congrats. You want to? Would you like to share this on Facebook? No, not ever. I don't want to share that ever.
I have friends that do, and it drives me nuts.
Well, it's like, what's going to be huge is like someone's going to make a CrossFit app that's just going to evangelize. Like it's going to automatically post an inspirational picture about CrossFit, and then you can put up all your stats. Like that's the thing. I'm sure that'll be a big deal. Like it'll be a big deal with CrossFitters.
I don't know. I think that the big deal for this one is going to be like a Tinder app on your watch that just integrates with other people who
Just
own
swipe
Apple
left and
Watches.
right, man.
You're
Yeah.
only swiping through millionaires who
Oh.
already have Apple Watches.
I like it.
That's going to be the thing.
So now they're talking about apps, which is good. Let's get into apps on this. Watch SDK was released in November. They're talking about all of these different app demos. Apparently, Kevin Lynch is taking the stage right now, which is great. He was one of the guys who was on stage at the iPhone 6 event in September, the one where they announced the Apple Watch. He was on stage for that. So I think he used to be, see, Shar is saying he used to be at Adobe.
Yep.
Clash against Steve Jobs over Flash. He's going to
Steve
announce
Jobs did not like that Flash, but how did that end for Adobe?
Talking about Duke. I mean, it's sports. Facebook, of course.
Great.
I like that everyone's like, I Tinder. Like that. I think it should just be Tinder.
Yeah.
Just run off your phone, you just swipe left or right.
But a one that's strictly restricted to just Apple Watch owners
Yeah.
for the filtering.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, you put a filter like open now on Yelp for
Yeah.
a restaurant. You would put like only using Apple Watch. I only want to hang out with other Apple Watch users. That's weird. That'd be so weird.
That's gonna happen.
Somebody asked right now, could we see third-party bands for these watches? I absolutely think so. This is going to be, I think the bands on the Apple Watch are going to be just like cases for iPhone and cases for Galaxy, the Samsung Galaxy line of products. I think absolutely this is going to be a big deal. Like bands, third-party bands.
Yeah.
Because they're all
Like
standard.
$1 million. on
They're
that.
standard.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be there, but I do feel like part of the maximum smugness of owning an Apple Watch is having. I feel like.
But I don't have an Apple case. Like I don't have the silicone sleeve for my iPhone. I have a third-party case.
You know, all the hipsters are gonna want their own cool band. You know
Yeah,
what
but
I'm saying?
hipsters aren't spending $350 base for
I don't know.
an
I think
Apple
those
Watch.
are the only people spending.
I don't know.
$300.
We'll see. It remains to be seen, but I do feel like if it's gonna be hard to even walk away with an Apple Watch for less than $350. I don't know. I guess you could buy the cheap
I see
Apple
it.
Watch, buy the third party,
Yeah.
band to make it cooler looking, but then you're showing off that you couldn't afford a certain level of Apple Watch. Like, which could be fine. Whatever. I'm not going to pretend like I understand. So far, I've been nothing but alienated between the marathon and the MLB sports stats.
I'm telling you, yeah, like they're really not.
The
They're not really
doctors, the
talking to
nurses.
me as a person
It
here.
could
They're not
be-
really talking to me as a
it's-
person.
It's a larger market, I suppose, of marathon runners and
I guess.
sports guys, but they'll hit me eventually here, but not yet.
You know what I want is I want a HomeKit dog collar that enables me to like tap on an Apple Watch, like tap on an app, open it up, and see what my dog is doing. Like at that moment, like drop cam integration. I don't know, whatever. Like, well, I can't do drop cam because Google and stuff, but
It's going to be more of an Oculus thing. You'll be able to strap on the
VR,
goggles
just
and get
see
the
your
VR
dog.
experience.
I like it. I like it. I like this. I like Kanye West to run out and say, Samsung had the best watch of all time. Of all time. Beck, you need to give up your Apple Watch.
I'm
Give
sorry,
it to
Tim Cook.
Beyonce.
Yeah. All right. So they're showing a WeChat app that is very simplified and lets you like reply to your WeChat text with little stickers and
Yeah, they was like
dogs
stickers.
and thumbs ups.
That seems a little twee for me. I don't know.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if sooner than later we see a like junior version of the Apple Watch, like
Like an iPod version.
yeah, like the iPod Nano version of
No,
the
I don't
Apple
think
Watch
so.
that's going to be like
For kids.
not this year, but I'm like maybe
I think we're
on
gonna
the
see a
roadmap,
knockoff
like 4
kids
years
version.
down the line, we'll see Apple Watch Junior. That's going to be like the bright, colorful, less expensive. I don't know, maybe not.
Hello Kitty Apple Watch.
Yeah,
Hello
that kind of
Kitty
stuff.
Apple
It's
Watch.
just gonna
So
get all
they're doing
cutesy and
Apple Pay
colorful.
right now. And also, yeah, like I see. Okay, so this stand notification thing.
Mhm.
It's like, aren't there a million timers that you could just set up on your? Because you're probably on your computer, right? So you just have a stopwatch, like give you notification on your computer. Like I'm not convinced.
What they have to, what they're trying to sell you is that this watch, you're buying it is going to make you a better person because of all the automatic things it's going to do to get you to stand up and get out there. and
Yeah, it's
take
like an
life
added
by the
bonus.
horns and
Take life by the horns. Jeez,
I don't know.
there's people yawning in the audience. I'm sad that we didn't have bingo. We should have printed out the Apple event bingo, but no Air Force One. What have we not seen thus far? I'm really sad there's no Craig Federighi. I get really excited because his hair is like pretty glorious.
We haven't seen any kind of iPhoto demo or some kind of like iWork. There's been no iWork
Yeah,
demo.
no, they're talking about Instagram.
No game demos.
Very similar. Changing your watch face is really similar to Android Wear. Kind of cribbed that, where you kind of force press, select a new watch face. Yeah, I don't know.
My arm's getting tired just looking at these things.
Everybody's arms.
I'm gonna be like, I just know I'm gonna be swiping my Instagrams like this. I
They
don't know.
said that they expect people to use the watch 10 seconds at a time. I don't know.
What do you mean? You're using it? Okay, when you
Like
when you
when you're-
interface with it, you're just spending
Yeah,
10
seconds
on
at a
it.
time is like the average.
I see.
I love this. It's one guy says, "I'd be booing. Donald, get your top 5 disappointment video ready." He's already
I think
writing it
that
in
the
his
top
head.
five Apple Watch alternatives I already wrote up in his posting on Friday. So.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good choice.
Because I think the one thing we haven't talked about that much is how much the Pebble watches have been killing it as far as getting people's
16
enthusiasm.
million plus, man, on
Yeah.
Kickstarter as
Pebble
of
Watch
I think
Steel,
last night.
or was it Time?
Pebble Time and Steel. Yeah, Pebble Time
coming up
Steel.
too.
And that's this summer.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little annoyed that they kind of like got a free loan from Kickstarter from like people funding it in advance. It's kind of weird because they have a bunch of
Yeah.
money now. I find that kind of
I wondered
gross.
why did they do
The whole
that?
kick. I feel like half
good
of
press.
Kickstarter now is this press
Good
and
press.
getting momentum and enthusiasm for your product.
Yeah, I mean it looks great. I'm excited about the little e-ink screen, and it looks like, and they said it's going to last up to 10 days on a single charge, which that's exciting. But man, I don't.
$17 million now.
Yeah, because and again, like
17 million.
We're probably going to hear at the end of this that this Apple Watch is a hopefully a day use, like day long battery life, right? But
You hope so.
compared to a watch that's significantly less, has over like 1,000 apps already developed for it, and is compatible with Android, and has like week-long battery life. So it's a very different sell, and one that makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be buying either one,
No.
but at least that one is kind of in the realm of possibility.
I do like this. They talk about going through airport security with your actual pass, like your boarding pass on your wrist.
Right.
So
It
you
just
just
says,
scan your wrist.
I'm not a terrorist on the Apple Watch as you
Yeah,
walk
of course,
through airport
of course.
security.
No,
Like,
but you have
oh,
your
he's got an
little
Apple Watch, let him
the
through.
boarding pass barcode. You just
Yeah.
scan that, and then you don't have to carry anything. You don't have to have your phone out or anything like that. You know, one of the things a lot of people talk about is the Apple Watch being really distracting, like distracted driving.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, for anybody who has not used the smartwatch thus far, it's actually less distracting for me if I have because I wear my Pebble on my left wrist,
Right.
like if I'm wearing it, and if I'm driving, if I have navigation on, I don't have to look down at my phone. It's just a quick flip of the wrist, look at it, and then back on the road. So I actually feel like that actually distracts me a little bit less, which is helpful. But so I don't know. I think in some ways it will be very distracting. Don't use the digital crown while you're driving. It's just like,
Oh yeah.
And it could absolutely be one of those things that Apple could disable once. I mean, both your smartphone and your smartwatch both have the accelerometer built into them, where it would know, hey, you're obviously driving now.
Right.
I could disable this, and if this is going to be a distraction, but no, that's not happened yet.
right. So they're talking about W Hotel. So your reservation pops up. You can unlock your room right from the hallway. So I'm sorry, it wasn't Marriott. It was the W Starwood Hotel. Starwood's W Hotel app. You can act on the rich notifications. I like that. This is cool. Somebody in our YouTube live stream said, I'd like to see Apple Watch integrate with Mint or your bank to tell you your balance when going shopping before you check out.
Before you buy an Apple Watch.
Yeah, before you go to, but you already have to have the watch though.
Oh,
so it's
we're in
catch-22
in a
there.
paradox.
It's catch-22. Shazam on the watch. Yay. Name a song, lyrics.
I love it.
Karaoke. Okay, it's good for karaoke. Look at your I don't know.
Again, I feel like these are all things my phone is or
Fine.
can be
Does all this.
doing.
Yep.
I don't have such a hatred of my iPhone to want to offload it to my wrist.
A lot of people are saying, like, when does the event end? And like a few people, Manny says it ends after everyone in the audience is asleep, which is terrible, but
must be a
but
snooze
kind of
fest there.
true. So far I haven't seen.
So yeah, so far it's peaked at the MacBook announcement.
Yeah, I feel like they really.
Well, I have footage now from KPIX.
Do we?
Recorded earlier.
So this is the new
Back
MacBook.
to the highlight.
Yeah,
Back to
this
the
is
highlight of the show.
What is this?
Checking out the new
7,
MacBook.
8?
Got Phil Schiller on stage showing look at all those batteries.
Battery innards.
Much battery.
To the thinnest,
So
lightest,
many
most
battery innards. I can't wait to see that in
we've
person.
ever made.
Can't wait
So
to go
many
check
batteries,
it out.
so few ports.
I can't wait.
Space gray and a
So,
stunning gold.
Stunning gold.
Stunning.
Laptop seems a bit much, but it's just me.
We're really
I like that gold laptop. I wouldn't buy one for myself, but I could see other people buying
notebook
it.
we've ever made.
So they're talking about dictation. Like they're doing this demo where daughter says, I forgot my key. I can't get in the house. And then you can reply from the watch, and then you can unlock the garage door, can send his audio file or his text. So it's
That's
like
pretty cool.
You can say, like, send an audio message like we have in iOS 8. Like you can tap on the microphone and send a little audio message. So obviously that was a precursor to the watch, because really that's where you'd want to use it. Because I never use it in iMessage.
Right.
Like it's such a weird thing. So they do show the garage door opening via camera remote, seeing a live feed of the door opening on your watch. So surveillance on your watch.
Yeah,
Great app from
that's what I want.
alarm.com.
Again, how are you going to make out the burglars on your watch when you could look at the video on your phone and see it?
Or use
that
the
much better?
alarm.com app on your phone, which I have. So I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
Guys, everybody watching, like, are you with me? Like, are you just not convinced yet? Because I feel like a lot of you are with me in my heart. Like, you're in the same place, just not quite there. So there's in iOS 8.2, they just announced Apple Watch app. They're gonna have a hub and an app store. Your iPhone will download apps to the watch. It'll be like Pebble. Go in a little app store, you download your stuff, and then it pushes it to the watch. It will absolutely require an iPhone. Somebody was asking in the stream.
Yep.
100% going to need an iPhone for this. We don't know what the backwards compatibility is. Will it go all the way back to the 5, do you think? Or will it be 6, 6 Plus going forward? Is it only 6, 6 Plus?
What did the
or
5
did they
have?
say? I think they said 5S.
It's got to have like Bluetooth, like low profile, right? I'm not sure if the 5 had that or not. Probably.
Yeah. I think that they said like how far back it goes
Yeah.
at the event. I think they said like 5S maybe or 5. I think 5 would be the absolute farthest back, but I want to say it was 5S.
BTLE, right?
Somebody else said that their Timex is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Prefer my Casio.
Yeah, so somebody said it needs an iPhone to work. Yes. Here's basically the apps are being driven by your iPhone. It's not the watch is not running any apps. It's pushing those apps and driving them from your iPhone. So yes, you will need an iPhone. 100% you will need.
Scott Stein saying all day battery life 18 hours. 18 hours is higher than I was thinking in some ways.
I like this all day battery. Well, what does that really mean?
Right.
All day battery for what? Because they have this like kind of cool magnetic charger. I would have liked maybe a wireless base, like just lay the watch down on it. That would have. I think I would have preferred that. But I'm sure people will. I bet on Etsy you're going to see a lot of people buying those magnetic chargers and like integrating them into these sort of like stands or valets or different things where you're going to be able to put your Apple Watch. Like that's going to be.
Yeah, that'll be a boutique item for you to.
That'll kind of be a little DIY boutique thing. So they're talking about the Apple Watch Sport now. This is like video.
And now Scott Stein's clearly delirious. He's just saying sparkles, aluminum.
Anodized aluminum,
A
the Apple
video
Watch Sport.
on aluminum.
Aluminium.
Aluminium.
It's aluminium.
Right.
Ugh. Yeah, see, so another charger to carry. See,
Oh man, yeah. Another one to lose in the hotel, also.
Yeah, exactly. Or like accidentally leave it home when you travel. I mean,
Leave
geez.
in the taxi, yeah.
And again, it'd be different if you weren't charging it every day. You know,
Right.
if
Yeah.
you're going to be
It's
able
every
to
10 days,
get a
7 to
week
10 days.
out of it, then.
But it's like you can't
leave it at
forget that
home.
charger or else you're hosed.
Yeah.
You go somewhere. It's over.
It's over, Apple Watch.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Air Force One. I see him. He's in the audience.
No.
I just saw Craig Federighi.
Playing Angry Birds on his watch.
Probably. Now he's clapping it up. Yeah, see, so okay.
Scott Stein says this is a sexy metal video. I think he means,
They're making
actual metals.
Yeah, they're making
I like the idea of it being like a
Metallurgy.
Slayer video.
Yes, like
happening.
they should bring out White Snake to perform. Like, and performing today is White Snake because they're slightly hair metal. Scott Stein says they're doing an awful lot to make aluminum feel amazing. This is actually one of the first times I have this kind of phrase called "try" with a capital T.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like you see somebody who's trying a little too hard, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Gosh, that's a lot of try." And this feels like a lot of try. Like they're hard selling me so much that I feel resistant to it. And I like that doesn't happen often at an Apple event.
Yep.
But I can really feel the sort of, it's not desperation, but it's certainly a hard press and a hard sell.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're really just doing everything they can to say, well, you gotta have it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Apple is probably a little bit scared that they're going to make an ass out of themselves if these don't sell as well as they're hoping. But I was talking to Scott Stein earlier, and he's like, look, the market already for smartwatches is so small that Apple doesn't have to do a lot to be the king of that market,
Right.
or to say that they've sold this many.
King of the hill,
They're
small hill.
they're gonna blow away the Pebbles and the Samsung smartwatches of the world easily, but it's still not going to be a big number. It's not going to be a number that they report next to their iPhone earnings. It's still a small segment unless it defies their expectations. But even if this is a failure compared to an iPhone, it is still going to be they're going to be able to claim that we're the biggest smart
That they're
watch
still number
maker
one.
in
Yeah,
the
exactly.
world.
So we have pricing. $349 for the 38 millimeter Sport, Apple Watch Sport, $399 for the 42 millimeter. So some of the sort of expectations that the larger watch would be a little bit more expensive was true. So $50 more for the 42 millimeter model. We might see the exact same pricing for the stainless steel model, where it's going to be a little bit more for the 42 millimeter. They are, of course, talking about now, because we've already gone through aluminum. Aluminum, we're talking about how stainless steel is no ordinary stainless steel.
It's the
with
best
the Apple.
stainless steel there ever was.
It's the greatest stainless steel that's ever been created. Of course. So we've got, of course, stainless steel and then a space gray or space black version where it's sort of a dark gunmetal kind of color. They're talking about like how it's alloy stainless steel, but it's been strengthened. And I think this is what
Molten metal.
So ridiculous.
The fires of Mordor, we have forged a watch that cannot be
Frodo
undone.
himself brought it to us. We made Frodo bring it to us. And then weren't they saying, wasn't Johnny Ive quoted as saying something about like the atoms being closer together in the gold for the edition or something? I mean,
the atoms closer together.
Yeah, it's like the atoms are closer, it's a stronger gold or whatever.
You cannot bend it.
Yeah. It's interesting. Scott Stein noticed it's all being shown like a super precision watch ad. And that's a thing a lot of watch enthusiasts really like, is seeing sort of the innards and how it's made and these beautiful shots of all of the inner workings of watches and things like that. So,
but compared to a Rolex, this thing looks like a chunky toaster. Like it's not, you can't, I don't feel like they're at a place yet where you can compare one to another. Like they've got the lingo down. They're focused on the right stuff, but I still feel like this is one of these things where 2 years from now, we're going to look back at this design and be like, what a hog.
Yeah,
this thing was.
What a giant hog on this. Why? They're saying a diamond-like carbon layer has been added for the space black model. Of course. But so the Milanese loop is something.
We stole the formula for diamond-like carbon.
From Sauron. Yeah, so they're talking about this Milanese loop, which is, they're very proud of it. What does it take them 9 hours to make or something like to put together or whatever. 140.
Chrissy Turlington's hair was used.
Of course, yeah. Her golden hair is used. So fascinating. So here, I'm sure the next thing will be the gold. This is not ordinary gold, just like the aluminum and the stainless steel.
We had to kill a man for this gold.
So here's the Apple Watch.
What's his life worth to you?
38 millimeter starts at $549, ranges up to $1,049 depending on the band.
Whoa.
42 millimeter is only $50 more. So $549, $599 for 42 mil, to $1049 for the band. Wow. So now they're talking about Apple Watch Edition, and I think this is people's heads are going to explode. People are going to rage out about pricing for this. But we've seen up to $1,049 for the Apple Watch for the steel. So maybe.
That's my eyebrow arch.
That's a skeptical eyebrow arch?
Yeah, I'm not good at it, but that was what that was, just to explain myself.
So he's talking about, priced from $10,000. Boom.
Let's get on the ground level with our $10,000 first generation. You know what? It's probably one of those things, though, that eventually you'll be able to donate it to a computer museum and
of course,
be compensated for that price. But
starting price, $10,000.
Select retail stores, limited quantities. Holy moly. So yeah, 10 grand starting price, which means that's probably for the gold, or not for the gold, but gold watch, not gold band. So if you want gold and gold, you're going to be paying, it might be $20,000. We'll see.
The question is what's the ceiling on these, on Apple's?
Notice they don't say up to. There's no up to.
No.
There's no maxing out.
If you have to ask,
you can't afford it. Yeah. It's going to be like Pretty Woman, where they're like, we don't think we have anything in your size. That's going to be the new Apple Watch thing. You're going to walk in and they're going to be like, I'm sorry, we don't think there's any additions. We don't have any available.
We keep it in another room, but you don't need to go back.
You don't get to go in that room.
Just be honest with
Wow.
April 24th, many countries, availability.
Australia, Canada, China, France, Germany, Hong Kong, Japan, UK, United States.
Round up your millionaires and call us.
Start selling a kidney, everybody.
Right.
Unless you have one kidney, in which case, I'm sorry, you're not getting an Apple Watch. Unless you can maybe you sell pancreas. Well, I don't know.
No, I mean, still, bottom line is you can get in the door at $350, right?
You can get in at $350, and I think that's probably.
For the sport.
I think that obviously the bottom tier are going to be the ones that are bought the most, but I think that, you know, anybody looking for that kind of $549 range. I mean, it's a little more expensive than an iPad,
Right.
which isn't terrible. I think that that's not unreasonable for what it is, but it is a little pricey.
And the cost also figures in that you're already owning an iPhone.
An iPhone, right? So if you don't own an iPhone, you got to add that cost in, which is not cheap. Gosh. So Australia, Europe, Hong Kong, they're just adding, or we already said Hong Kong, but Australia, they are apparently very excited.
But can you put a price on being a better person? Right? I mean, let's bring Chrissy Turlington back on to talk about how many marathons you'll be able to win.
Let's do that. I want to see her in a year saying how many marathons she's won because of the Apple Watch.
Yeah.
The answer's probably going to be 0. I mean, it's just a guess. Unless she runs a marathon against me, like a 2-person marathon, then
totally dominate.
She'll win that for sure. She'll win that.
You're running with your Pebble on. You're like, come on, Pebble.
I won't be running. I'll be dead. I'll just like within 100 feet. I'll just drop. That'll be it.
All right, Cook is back up, saying thank you, thank you, thank you. This might be the end. Just one more thing. Apple Car.
There's one more thing. Apple Car. Oh, they love that. They love that slide where it's got the watch. They got all the products laid out right there.
Can you see we've thought about all of these things together?
There's actually you can't actually see the car because it's so thin, but it is on that slide. The Apple Car is on that. It's just really thin. You just can't see it at all.
It's parked in front of the iMac.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
just a little off the screen.
Totally. So I mean that's that looks like. You know, that's it. That's it for Apple Watch. Not a lot more. We didn't learn a whole lot more. We saw a lot of this stuff in September.
Yeah, we got some pricing now. We understand the apps a little bit better, maybe. We saw less photos, I think, that were renders.
Yeah, less renders, less real, real watch.
We had a real live supermodel wearing one.
I don't know. It wasn't. I'm still not convinced.
Maybe are they going to have another event closer to April when they're going to?
I guess so. Yeah.
Here we go.
Here's all the real.
Let's try this again a third time. The Apple Watch.
I like this.
Starts at $350.
I really like this comment. Charles wrote, "I wasted my time. No pun intended." People are very excited. It's wow. This seems very polarizing, actually. So they're saying Timex steel basic Swiss Army quality and prices are less than $500. So Warren in our live stream is talking about that. But yeah, I don't know. They didn't mention if it was waterproof. And I mean, Tim Cook had mentioned in an interview that he showers with his. So I guess it's.
But he can also just get a new one every day.
Every day.
Like,
right?
yeah, this
exactly.
one's water clogged again. Terrible Tim Cook impression.
I think a lot of people will buy this. If the apps are there. And so actually, wow, it's funny. I just scrolled down and saw Alex comment in the live stream, the apps made the iPhone, the apps will make this. So the iPhone without apps is nothing. Give us a month or two. It'll be a great product. No need to wait a year for the second one. I'll
agree with that, but I also say that, and this is cheap. This is a cheap shot. On the record, I say Steve Jobs' sales pitch made the iPhone amazing. Like the day that it came out and he showed it off, everyone was like, holy crap, I want that phone. I can touch it and manipulate it, and it's all, my iPod's in there. It's going to be amazing. No apps. Who cares about apps? Give me that phone. I did not have that experience. I've not encountered that experience yet, even a tingle of it.
Yeah.
With this product.
I'm not excited about it the way that I'm excited about the new MacBook. I want to see it. I think that's cool. But man, I feel like Apple's really got its work cut out for them. And again, I think that there is something intangible about Apple that a lot of people are aware of, where there is some, magic spell they have over large swaths of people who get excited about these products. But at the end of the day, I mean, it does feel like this is kind of, again, it's a risk. It's such a risk. So I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if this is going to be the turn. Maybe it'll be in a year when it's a second gen, it's a little thinner, it's a little, there's a little more to it. I don't know. I really don't know. But that's it for the event. They've closed it out. It's done.
All right. Well, I'm going to boot up the call software. We're going to be taking some calls with confusion. or excitement around the MacBook. I'm excited about that. I'm more eager to see one of those in real life than I am the Apple Watch. But yeah.
Do you want to see this? Do you want I tell you this comment that I just saw from Twitter? I can buy 2 Moto 360s for the cost of one iWatch and wear them on each wrist.
Yes, and that is true. It's absolutely true. But I still would say you were even the Moto 360 with one or two of them is not. I don't know if these are products that we're having fun experimenting with. I think it's cool that the market exists for this stuff, but no matter what the platform is, I'm not convinced yet of the smartwatch as a thing. In general,
the tipping point is not quite there yet. Not quite there. So we have the prices as we get ready to take some of your calls. You can call us at 1-888-900-CNET.
2638 is the CNET spelling.
Spell CNET on your phone. So we have some pricing if you happen to miss it. Starts at $349 for the Sport Watch, $399 for the 42 millimeter Sport Watch. Then we have the Apple Watch that is in stainless steel and the space black, which is starts at $549 for the 38 millimeter, $599 for the 42 millimeter, goes all the way up to $1,049 depending on the band you choose for that particular watch.
Mm-hmm.
And the Apple Watch Edition will start at $10,000.
And where it goes from there is anybody's guess. Actually, we'll probably figure that out by the end of the day.
A lot of people are saying meh in the live stream
chat.
In the chat now, they're like, meh.
Yeah, that's. It's happened with Apple keynotes before, but this was surprising because I really feel like this was where the one that Apple need to really impress us. Like we gave you the preview, now we want you to really start spending your money. Can you pre-order these yet? Is the Apple Store down, or is it? They
didn't mention pre-order.
Yeah.
But if it's shipping April 24th, it's possible that pre-orders will be a little later this month.
Mm-hmm.
But could be Friday. Usually, don't they do that? Like they do an event and then Friday, that's pre-orders.
So then we also saw a spec bump in we saw the new MacBook, the MacBook.
The MacBook.
But then spec bumps on the Pro and the Air too, right?
Yep. The Air got one. Air shipping today. Those ones, the Air and the Pro, not the MacBook.
It's like I got into some weird space in the Apple.
Oh wow!
Whoa! Whoa!
It's like they're in the middle of the update or something.
It's like the GeoCities version of the Apple Store.
That's the Angel Fire version of the Apple Store.
I don't see anywhere to pre-order
animated
yet.
Tim Cook gifts.
Yeah, I have a feeling they'll probably announce pre-orders maybe at the end of the month, maybe the beginning of April. That could be it. Oh, here we go. Pre-order April 10th. So there you have it. April 10th pre-orders. Thank you for everybody in the live.
For those who want it.
Okay.
That's the date. We're getting some calls coming in. You want to take those?
Yeah, let's take a couple calls.
All right, we've got Jordan here.
Hey, Jordan.
Hey, Jordan. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys very well.
Thank you. Great. Thanks for calling, man. I'm assuming you've watched the keynote here. What's your reaction?
Yep. I personally think that the Apple Watch prices are a little bit pricey, but I do honestly think that new 12-inch MacBook is really good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm getting in your boat, and we're gonna sail away with some MacBooks. That's what we're gonna. That's where I'm at. I'm all about the MacBook.
Jordan's calling from Australia too, so you really are gonna be getting in a boat.
I will have to actually physically get in a boat to come with you and get MacBooks.
Yeah, he might get them first though in Australia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a little earlier. So, because you live in the land of tomorrow. So, are you? Okay. Here's the question: are you going to get if you were going to get the new MacBook, are you going to get the $12.99 one, or are you going to spring for the $15.99?
$15.99 right here.
He's going for it. I like it.
Well, the other thing too, Apple seals up their MacBooks. I mean, if you're not going to be upgrading this thing down the line, right? I mean.
Exactly.
You couldn't even use a blowtorch to get into it without melting the poor little wafer-thin design if you wanted to.
No repairability.
Yeah, so
I can't wait for iFixit to tear that thing down.
Bend it first.
If you don't bend it, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, don't put it in your pocket. That'd be bad.
Hashtag Bengate.
Yeah, Bengate Part 2. No, I dig that. So you're more excited about the MacBook Pro. I'm there with you. I think that is right where we're in the same space. We're in the same space.
Well, yeah, I think smartwatches are still getting out there, and companies don't really know what the consumer wants yet. And I think companies are trying to introduce these products so quickly that they're just
not even thinking about what the consumer wants.
Yeah, I think they're
They're just
panicking
saying,
because
let's just get it out there.
there's a lot. They're seeing the maturing of the smartphone market. They're seeing tablet sales receding. They've been seeing computer sales dropping year over year quite a bit. So something's got to come and save the day. And if it's a new screen that you can strap to your body, then all the better. It's
Exactly.
but I think that you're right. This is more than any other product trend I've seen. This is one of the more manufactured technology trends over the years, and I think in some ways Apple almost got bullied into making the watch because people got talked. There was the talk of the Apple Watch for years,
right?
Even like when the iPad Nano iPod Nano came out, that was like watch-like. They're like, oh, Apple's going to come out with one of these for real soon.
I honestly thought that was going to be their watch, but then they come out with the Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting set of choices that they're making, and it does feel like maybe they in some way felt forced into the market a little quicker than maybe they were ready for, or something like that. I don't know. But I agree with you. I think that the watch maybe not for everybody, but I mean, for me personally, I'm really excited about the MacBook.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been watching the stock over here, and it's like a roller coaster ride right now. It's going up and down, like literally within minutes. It was just up in the green. Now it's going down. Now watch. I bet you it'll change in another second and go back up in the green. It's like it's literally there. Now it's going back up in the green.
It's reflecting our emotions, the boomerang of our feelings towards Apple.
Like it was up during most of the presentation, but then as soon as it was over, it went down. Now it's going back up. See?
I think all in all, if I were a stockholder, I am not a stockholder. I'm legally obligated not to be a stockholder as a CNET employee. But I can understand. I think on the whole, I would be more positive on Apple as a company. When you look at the bigger points of their message today of Apple Car, of like all the major car manufacturers coming on for Apple CarPlay. Is that Apple CarPlay?
CarPlay?
Yeah,
CarPlay.
And being still really strong in laptop sales, retail sales, being able to get Apple Pay integrated with more providers and solutions, being able to get your Coca-Cola with your Apple Pay,
watch.
all that stuff. It talks to like much bigger trends in technology and much longer plays for Apple than the experiment of an Apple Watch. I think that that's a fun thing for them to do and be able to say we can come in here, make this our own, and dominate this trend that's happening right now.
Right.
But the health stuff, like the health kit, the integration into cars and healthcare and home and all that stuff is much more on the whole positive for Apple.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But not as sexy a sell.
No, definitely not. I think it's like a lot of people in our live chat now we've opened up the live chat to comments, and a lot of people are just like, no killer app here. It's cool, but at $349 doesn't bring much new functionality for something that would be obsolete in a year.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that, but I do think that there are the rumblings of something there in terms of, like you said, like CarPlay and this medical research stuff and HomeKit, and this is all kind of building up to a much bigger connected Internet of Things. As much as I hate using that phrase. But it's building up to that where you're going to want some type of wearable that does these things for you. Like as you approach your car, it unlocks your car and, starts the air conditioning or whatever. I can watch my Game of Thrones on HBO now in my Apple car as it self-drives me to work. Of course. Yeah, coming. Exactly. Seeds there. So I think that's very interesting. And I do think that this is, it feels like that's sort of the beginnings of something, but I don't know that it's all cohesive. It's not there yet. Yeah. For me, it's not. I know a lot. Like there's tons of people who are like, I'll pay $349 for this. I'm in. All right, let's check in with Francis from San Jose, see what he thinks. All right, what's up, Francis? Francis from San Jose, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. What did you think of the presentation?
She made a comment earlier about try with a capital T, and actually I couldn't agree more. I think that really rung true with me on that one.
Yeah, lots of try.
Trying
so
too
much
hard.
Try. They've been hanging around the fashion people too much, I think. I think that's what happened. There's just so much try in it. It really just felt like they were just like throwing themselves at us with this watch. They're like, oh, here it is. You got to buy it. You're going to love it. And it's like, no, I will. No.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of how I felt.
I mean, they're in uncomfortable territory. This is like a really almost fashion first type product is not something they've
That's true.
tried or had success with, unless you count like the 10-year anniversary Mac.
The Mac Pro, the red Mac Pro.
Right. Or even like the one,
special.
the little that looked like the little encased in clear lucite.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly that.
Yeah. So, but I feel like they're doing their best to play it cool, and seem like this is just an effortless thing that of course people are going to come out and buy. But there's an emperor wears no clothes element to it where you're like, is anyone really going to buy this?
Right? Is it there?
Yeah.
Is it really there?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
All right. What else? What about the other products? Anything else non-watch that excited you about the presentation today? MacBook, HBO Now.
In regards to the MacBook, I'd have to say one port was both extremely exciting and extremely scary at the same time. I mean, how many of us, have to charge our computer while looking at an external drive or charging our phone or other device? I mean, that's scary new territory here.
Yeah, and also like you said, I mean, when you have to start making those choices?
How do you do it?
The Sophie's choice of technology. We're like, what do I charge? No, I have to choose one. Like you just have to choose one. I'm sure. I would hope that there would be some type of connector, dongle, something that would allow you to have sort of like a hub. I'm sure there'll be some USB hubs that you'll have available. You just throw that in your bag. But yeah, still scary. I don't know. And if it was something that would charge it, I would imagine you'd probably have to get a hub that was AC powered. You'd have to plug it in.
You'd have to get an Apple specific one. I'm sure there'd probably be some resistor
I'm
in
sure-
the charging cable that
I'm sure
would determine
Belkin-
whether or not you're using an Apple certified
course.
charging cable.
I'm sure.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm right there with you. It's scary. It's a terrifying prospect. One port. Just what do you? I mean, I don't. It's like I don't like it, but I'm also really interested to see how creative people get with the port.
How do you feel about smartwatches in general? Is there anything else non-Apple that is intriguing you? Are you tipping on one way or the other? Are you thinking about, is this a smartwatch year for you?
Well, I was actually one of the early donators for the Pebble, so I do see the potential of that device. And again, it just goes back to the Apple Watch being a very niche item. You have to have an iPhone. You're drawing from the phone, and God forbid your phone dies or something, and you're wearing this expensive hunk of junk on your wrist. So.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't talk about that power reserve mode that was like rumored, where they said, oh, if you, not that I saw in our blog, but they didn't talk about, where, oh, if your battery's dying, if it's under a certain percentage, you can switch over to this power reserve that'll just give you the watch face for the rest of the day, like until you can charge it.
Right.
We didn't hear anything about that either. It's just not a
Because,
lot of
I
detail.
totally would want to buy the watch just for that.
Yeah, exactly. I know, right? It's like such a compelling. It's like, oh, I just want it to be a watch face. Oh, well, in that case, I'll go buy a
was the
$10
killer
Burger
app.
King watch.
Tell me more about this Burger King watch.
Oh, there's so many. I mean, you can get a Mickey Mouse face.
Yeah.
You can get, there's so many different faces. There's so many options.
I think it's proprietary though, just to Burger King. You can't use it with McDonald's or anything.
Yeah, it's got a special connector, a special crown connector. You can't use it with anything else. Well, thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks, Francis.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Bye, you too.
All right, we got some more here. We've got Ramir. Let's talk about Ramir. Are you there?
Yes.
Hey, thanks for calling. You wanted to talk about the MacBook. What do you think about the Apple MacBook that was shown off today?
I mean, it was pretty cool, like how thin it was. I mean, but what kind of turned me off was the lack of ports. I mean, I get how USB Type C is supposed to be the future of USB and power and all that, but I don't see the functionality, how it's going to exactly fit into certain circumstances where, oh, I need to plug in my laptop, but wait, I have a PowerPoint presentation on my USB stick.
Right.
What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to fight for power or my presentation? I mean, I didn't even see a headphone port. Is there a headphone port on the laptop?
I think I saw one on the right side of it. So the USB Type C port was on the left.
I'm kind of looking though at the right side. We've got a little image
right
here.
there. See it?
Okay.
There's a little tiny headphone. What looks like a headphone jack on the upper right side.
The thickest point on the right side.
Thickest point, upper right side of the device.
But expect that to disappear next year.
Yeah. There's just gonna not even be any cables at all.
Yeah.
You have to just use your mind. You
Only
put on a little
Bluetooth.
hat.
Only Bluetooth headphones work now.
You wear your Apple hat and you think about what you want it to do. That's gonna be the new thing.
I'm with Ramir though. I haven't noticed that we've moved into this post-cable world yet. I can't even move right now because I'm actually wrapped around in both a charging cable, Ethernet cable, headphone jack, and multiple computers, and microphone cables.
Yeah, we got all kinds of cables.
But yeah, I think Apple really is trying to point us towards this cable-free world where possibly you need to use one cable to gently recharge your computer.
No, you need to use one cable to connect to a thing that will let you connect more cables. So I don't know. I'm with you. It's we call it on Tomorrow Daily. We call it scare sighting, where it's really exciting, but it's also really scary. The concept of it is terrifying to me as somebody who uses multiple devices all at once connected to my computer. It's that's terrifying.
But we have to remember, Apple was the first to not use optical drives on their laptops too, or their Macs too, or their Macs still have it, or they eventually took it off.
I have the Retina MacBook Pro in it. There's no optical drive here.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thank you for calling.
Yeah, Ramir, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, dropping Ramir, and did you want to finish up that thought, or should I go to another call?
Let's go to another call. Go to another call. There's a lot of people talking about this in the live stream chat right now.
All right, and again, we've got lines open. The number is 888-900-CNET, which is 2638. Give us a call. We got William here. William, how you doing?
Hi.
Hello.
Talk to us about Apple Watch.
Well, I enjoyed the presentation, the keynote. I was impressed with the MacBook, but it got me into the watch side of it. I just don't think I'm going to be heading that way, just because there was no mention about the sport and its waterproofing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little bit dismayed by the battery life that they advertised with how you're going to charge it, especially if there's going to be some apps available for sleep monitoring. I mean, when are you going to have the opportunity to charge your watch at that point?
Well, eventually these things will be able to harvest the energy from our body, right? It'll just
take your soul
inject
out.
its little electrodes into you as you're sleeping and monitor your sleep, and also, get its charge.
Yeah, but that is a really good point. There's not really going to be any sleep monitoring on this thing if you need to put it on a charger every night.
It sounds like another product, Ashley.
It sure does.
You've got two arms, right?
Well, they'll say, go get Sense. And then it's you have the little Sense ball and then a tag on your pillow.
Right.
And that's your sleep sensor that sends it to your watch.
There was no mention of the sport being waterproof or water resistant.
There wasn't.
And a lot of us use that in outdoor activities. It'd be nice to have that availability. And I was just kind of, Apple's really good about tying their product to other platforms, but they had no inkling into maybe tying it together with a major watch manufacturer, which really knows how to make waterproof watches.
Right, yeah, and not even just, not even a kind of half mention of I shower with it and it's fine, or, whatever, or, you can get it wet and it won't go haywire. I don't know. I think that's a really important feature for something you're going to call sport. So I agree with you.
But it's an important feature for Apple to build an obsolescence into their products too.
That's true.
We just saw with Samsung, with the unveiling of the Galaxy S6, instead of the waterproofing that they had on the S5, they did away with that. Look, we need to sell more phones.
We got to have people drop these things into their pools.
These S5s are sticking around way too long, guys.
Yeah, they're surviving too long. I agree with you. I think that this is, I think that's kind of it's interesting. There weren't extra details that we were kind of hoping for. And you too, obviously, if that's, you're saying you really wanted to hear about waterproofing and stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for your call.
Letting me add comments.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, William. We're going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes, but we still have time for a few more calls here. We have Isaac on line 2. Isaac, how are you doing?
Yep.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Hey, Isaac.
Hey.
So what do you think?
What's your reaction?
I wanted to ask you guys about the watch, because if they do their yearly refresh cycle and somebody spends, that $10,000 on that gold watch and they want to upgrade every single year, do you foresee Apple putting forward like some kind of exchange program with their watches?
No.
I don't at all. No, I really don't. Here's what I think. I do think that Apple would be very wise to make it so, because $10,000 is going to be with a band. So starting at $10,000, depending on the combination of band. So let's say, for example, you buy a gold on gold. You buy gold Apple Watch edition and you buy the gold band and you spend $20,000.
Right.
And then next year they say, okay,
They catch you for credit card fraud and they
Yeah,
find
of
you
course,
and they
yeah,
get the
yeah.
watch back.
They take your watch back after you've defaulted on your loans.
Yeah.
But next year you're gonna say, okay, well, if you're well-to-do, I'm Kanye West, and I'm like, I need to get that watch, and I want to get an upgrade. Well, you can keep the loop. I think that's the point, is that the bands you won't have to upgrade. Like maybe you'd get like a basic band, but like with the gold watch, it
Right.
seems like you'd be able to just get the actual module by itself without a band if you don't need it, or you would just come with a basic band at 10,000 or whatever.
Yeah, I could
So
see
you're not
that.
spending 20,000 every year, like, or you're not spending like the steel one. So let's say you spend 1,049, you spend the top end for the stainless steel, and then next year maybe you want to get another one, but it's you don't need the band this
Right.
time. You
So
only need
the
to just
watch,
buy the base.
The watch housing itself will get thinner year over year.
Right.
But the
the
watch
band
band
stays
is
the
gonna-
same. Yeah, I think that's probably part of the sort of the pitch on upgrading, which is like, oh, you don't have to buy the band again. Like,
Yeah.
I think that'll be a thing. And I think that's going to kind of be the angle that they're going to take, because, obviously, like we said really early on in the show, like there are going to be people who buy these and keep them for 2-3 years before they upgrade them, just like phones.
Yeah,
But then there's going to be people like us who are like, I need one every 6 months. Like,
And
where's my
the
6S?
thing that Apple has one of the best track records on it, not because of themselves, but just because of the way that their products tend to go with fans, is that they have good resale value. Like if I was going to drop $500 to $1,000 on a smartwatch, which are not, but if I were, the reason going with Apple makes a compelling option is because I know that a year from now or a month from now, I could sell that and have some reasonable expectation that I'll get a good part of my money back.
Right. And
or even if there's a shortage, I'll get more money.
Yeah, there's always people who want to buy used Apple products, just like there are always people who want to buy used phones, just in general, Android, any of that stuff. There's always going to be a resale there, and I think that that's what I do with my phone. So I never put my phones on subsidy. I always basically buy a new phone and put it on on T-Mobile. I get my little contract going, but then I pay it off almost immediately because I sell my previous iPhone. And so I think a lot of people probably will take that route as well. And there'll be plenty of people, I'm sure, who will want to buy a used Apple Watch for cheaper than what you could buy it at retail.
Sure.
All right.
It'll be interesting to see if like people start selling the watch for the gold versus the tech 3-4 years down the road. Is the gold going to outweigh the value of the watch at 4 years old?
I think it's a good opportunity right now for you to make some Apple Watch specific gold spray paint to really charge the market.
Exactly.
Good luck with that one. It's a free idea. You can have that one. Thanks for calling, Isaac. We're going to move on.
Thanks, Isaac.
All right. We've got Omer here from Istanbul calling in. Omer, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Hey, thanks for calling the show. You want to talk? Can you turn down the computer a little bit?
Sure. I do.
Okay. Thank you.
There we go.
You want to talk about the Apple event? What did you think?
Well, I wanted to say two things. First of all, I've been using smartphones since Windows mobile devices in 2002. And I noticed that over the years, the smartphone, of course, I changed from Windows to Apple and then Android and Apple again. But over the years, smartphone has accumulated many other devices that I also used to buy, which I don't buy and pay for anymore, like a mini camera, or a navigation device, or heart rate sensor,
right,
and many things like that. That's why I think I'm eager almost to pay $700 or more for the new version of these devices. But first time I noticed that Apple with this device is actually dividing the functionality of the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's dividing it with another screen. It's actually no additional use, in my opinion, right now, as it seems. And the second point is this. If you look at all Apple devices until now, Retina device, MacBook Airs or MacBook Pro devices, they were all, the singular device was all the top quality. I mean, Retina MacBook, for example, is more expensive than the MacBook Air, but it's a different device. And for that 15-screen device, there's only one device.
Mm-hmm.
And the attraction to many people of this is that if you are sitting, for example, in an airport lounge, and you're a regular student, and next to you is a CEO, and next to you is a billionaire, of course, it may not be. There would be different lounges. But still, you would still have the same highest quality product, whether it's a phone or a notebook. But with this watch thing now, there's a separation of people.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, like 10 years ago, there were Nokia devices, and Nokia actually sold the same phones, 10 billion, 40 or 60 phones, with different builds at many different prices. And they even had a new brand called Virtu. I think it still exists, I'm not sure.
Yeah, Virtu.
Which was like $10,000 or something like that.
Right.
But I don't think that Steve Jobs would have done it. I don't know about his intentions. I didn't read his biography, but in my opinion, he could have done it in 2007 or in the following years, but they never did it. They only sold one iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
And even the 5C came after his death, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, it's a great point. We got to wrap up the show. Omar. All right, sorry to interrupt you, but I thank you
Those
for
were
your
really
call.
good points,
These are
though.
all really good points, and we're going to talk about them a little bit more, and then we're going to wrap up the show. But thank you for your calling.
Thank you.
All right, we got to drop that. I'm sorry to keep other people on lines,
know.
but thank you everyone for calling in for the show. Thanks for tuning in for the Apple Watch event here at
Yes.
CNET, and we've got more great coverage over on CNET.com. We've got Scott Stein's probably first take on the Apple Watch, or an additional, maybe a second take. I'm sure Dan Ackerman's got plenty to say on the new MacBooks or the new MacBook.
The new MacBook.
And maybe the upgraded specs on the other MacBooks in the line. Lots more to talk about. Maybe we'll even have that top ceiling price of the most expensive Apple Watch that exists. I'm really curious to know how much money Apple can take from us. Ashley.
Mine is zero. They're
Ashley,
not taking
I
any of
could
my
not
money.
have done this without you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
And if anybody wants to watch my show, we talk about future tech and robots and science and outer space every day, Monday through Thursday on CNET.
Yeah.
It's Tomorrow Daily.
Tomorrow Daily.
With Kale Anonymous, who is a delight and also slightly crazy, which always makes for a fun show, and I love him, and I'm sorry he could not be here this morning. Hi, Kale. Hey. But yeah,
All right.
Tomorrow Daily.
And while we're plugging Top 5, this Friday is going to have the Top 5 Apple Watch alternatives, so you're going to want to check that out too. All right, thanks everyone for joining us on CNET Live. We'll see you next time.
Dance party. Woo!
Like I dance.